Holman, welcome to Banks Power, to the conference room.
I've been walking around here since you were on the phone talking to customers, and found myself wandering. For some reason, Gail has this weird thing where he trusts me wandering aimlessly around his campus here. And
I think you're a trustworthy guy.
I stumbled into this one dark room that was full of engines.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I stumbled...
Be careful what you talk about.
And I stumbled into this other area who had vehicles.
Okay.
Then I walked by this other area, and there was rooms.
Just don't... The one that's in this corner over here that I'm pointing at? The big one? The heavy vehicle?
Oh, the military...
I just had to bleep that out.
I was going to say, you're going to bleep it anyway.
I just did.
Hey, we should talk about how Banks is making a...
Oh, no.
For the military.
I can't. I just had to bleep all that out.
Well, okay, how about we talk about how the Super Turbo Duramax is in the Dinosaur?
Well, that we can talk about.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't care. I only want to talk about things we can't talk about.
Yeah. All right. Well,
the place is...
There are a lot of engines, aren't there?
It's crawling with Duramax engines. They're coming out of every orifice and crack of light. You know, you walk around the outside. Normally at buildings, you would see like some ivy working its way through a crack in the wall. No, there's a Duramax manifold that's sticking through. And although I did see some... how can I say this?
You can say that we have some eco-diesel engines
well, I was going to say,
here.
Is it was it a 630T?
Yes, the Banks 630T.
You just can't say where they're at or what they're in?
You can't say what they're in.
Okay.
What they're connected to.
Well, that's going to make talking about them really hard.
You can just say that they're here.
Okay, well, they're here. So I wandered around Banks, and I don't know. I've made it back into the conference room where we have previously recorded. This is going to be, thank you, Mr. Gail Banks. This is going to be our podcast studio home for probably the next 2 to 3 episodes until the Podshed gets up and running.
And what's funny is there's no one here. It's you and I.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to have to pause and go call the alarm company and tell them I'm working late.
I heard you yodeling when I walked in.
That wasn't me.
Then somebody else is here.
There's a ghost.
There's absolutely somebody.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You saw Matt Gamble, who we had on the show. He was exiting. Yeah.
You were on a call, and he and I talked about soundproofing walls.
He is working late on a project, the one that we can't talk about, the one that's out there.
Yeah, he wouldn't divulge that information.
Oh, he wouldn't elaborate, really?
No. I said, what are you doing here? And he goes, and then he looked at the ground. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's something there.
That guy has been putting in some serious hours. He's one of our engineers. He's the guy that he was on the show. You know, we saw him from Edelbrock.
Yeah.
And he came here to build a race truck to go to Pikes Peak.
And now he's building other stuff.
Now he's, can we say things?
No, I don't think you can say that.
No, I just bleeped myself out.
I think you have to bleep that. I'm pretty sure that that's not allowed either.
Yeah, I can't
I think
say
we
that.
should move away from that part of the thing. And,
okay.
Hey, all right. I don't know if you saw on my socials at Sean P. Holman, but I've been busy. I've been a busy little beaver lately.
You're talking about building the studio behind your house.
All right. Well, let's see. Building the studio. All right. So, by the way, massive, like I think they call it an atmospheric river hitting Southern California right now. Podshed, totally dry.
Really?
Double checked it today. Not one leak in the whole thing. I'm feeling good.
Oh, that's great.
I'm feeling really good.
Because we're going to have electronics in there.
A lot of electronics. And so that thing is good. We've got our friend Rich coming out to help out next week.
From Holdaway Construction?
From Holdaway Construction up in Hollister. He's going to, one of our very first listeners, he's going to come down and help hang drywall and things like that. I've had a couple contractor buddies who have helped me do the electrical and the installation so far to make it a lot easier for when Rich comes down, so to maximize his time. So yeah, so I got the podcast studio, and then if you guys saw, obviously Truck Famous is up and running. And then I launched Use for Adventure Incorporated.
And what is that company going to do?
That is my, it's basically the S Corp that owns Truck Famous that owns the podcast.
That's a shell corporation owning a shell corporation.
No,
it's something you see in like a bad.
No, it's completely legit.
That's a gangster movie.
No. So because it wholly owns it, it pays the S Corp. The S Corp pays me.
Right.
That's how I get. That'll be my paycheck.
Yeah.
I wrote this little boilerplate. I posted it up on LinkedIn. I posted it up on my socials. And dude, my phone's been ringing off the hook. So
how do you have the time to do?
I'm going to read this to you, and I want you to tell me if you would hire me.
Okay, sure.
All right. Use for Adventure Inc. is an automotive freelance and consulting business specializing in the truck and off-road market. Principal Sean P. Holman has over 20 years of automotive editorial experience to pull from and is ready to assist you with your next project. From OE vehicle programs and aftermarket new products to trail planning and guiding bespoke backcountry trips, Use for Adventure Inc. is positioned to offer valuable customer insights, advice, and expertise in the off-road and truck space. Other services include writing, hosting, voiceover work, panel moderation, marketing, and business strategy, and distilling complex topics into something that can be understood by your everyday consumer.
I'd give you about a 94.
Yeah!
About a 94. It's got there's just a few words I would change to make them spice it up a little bit. The only thing you don't tell me there is that you say that what you can do, but not
what I can't do.
No, what you have done.
Yeah, this is not about the past.
I also don't like the word business in there. I think
it's still a business.
Yeah, it is a business, but you don't need to say it in that.
Interesting. Well, I've had a very, very good response, and now I'm hoping I don't have too much on my plate. Because then I also did a third thing, and I am there's a new magazine coming out in the off-road space that everybody here, if you loved my previous magazine...
Is this the one that I saw go through the mail slot called OVR?
Yes. So a little background on that. The guys that started Recoil magazine and therefore started Concealment, Off-Grid, if you guys love those magazines, hugely successful. Also launched one called Geek, and I believe it was Inc. back at my previous employer long ago. Recoil got sold. They went with it, and then they eventually left and went out on their own. They also started another magazine, and this one is called OVR, Off-Road Vehicle Recreation. And so it's all about the lifestyle of overlanding, off-roading, gear reviews, destinations, the doing of it, the lifestyle aspect of it. And they have offered me a minority interest to come aboard. And I took them up on that, so I'll be a part owner in that. So looking for, if you guys are going, how can I support you? Well, if you love off-roading and magazines, there'll be both a print and digital version. And there's also a website. Go to ovrmag.com. And we're also going to be hosting a podcast tab on there where you'll be able to see our podcasts and listen directly from that website as well. So hopefully we reach a new audience of people. So, yeah.
But that's so far out of our wheelhouse.
You think... Off-roading,
I'm being sarcastic. It's exactly in our wheelhouse,
right? I mean, I think there's some stuff that we do that, like the lowered custom truck stuff that might not be a perfect match. Sure. But I mean, we talk about enough stuff.
No. Everyone takes lowered Mavericks off-road.
Well, that would be fun. So So anyway, those are my three ventures right now: minority stake in OVR Mag, and then also Use for Adventure, and then also Truck Famous in the podcast. So
congrats.
Dude, things are just like happening the way they're supposed to.
They're lining up.
Yeah, except for the bill I have to pay later.
That'll be stiff.
It's talk about risk, and this episode's about entrepreneurship, and we talk about risk going in as a business owner and stuff, and I'm feeling that. I'm definitely feeling that right now.
So what Holman's getting at is we're going to be checking in with a guy named Hamza Deyaf. And I think I'm screwing up his last name. I'm almost positive. But Hamza is the CEO and founder of a company called Feniex. It's spelled Feniex. And they make LED lights, strobe lights, things like that. There are a lot of lighting suppliers you can go to, but I don't think many have a story like his. So it'll make a lot more sense when we get into it, but I'm pretty excited. I've been following his career since I found out about the company, and he's a young entrepreneur that's got a great story. So we'll check in with Hamza shortly, but first we want to thank Nissan, with whom we wouldn't be at Banks. Isn't that weird? Like, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this show without Nissan.
Is that because Nissan brought me here and is taking us home?
A little bit of that, yes. Nissan did provide you with a brand new Titan XD Platinum Reserve, which we deflowered last night.
By the way, with chili dogs. By the way, I'm going to tell you right now, the audio quality in this room is completely way worse than the Titan XD.
That's true.
I was listening to it.
Well, there's a conference room, dude.
I get it, but I was listening.
There's pegboard.
We were in a car.
Corkboard behind you.
We were in a car while it was raining.
Yeah. And it was still better
than this. I couldn't believe it when I was listening to the playback. I'm like, the audio is actually really good. It's just, it goes to show you how quiet that truck is. And thanks.
Well, so about that truck, this particular Platinum Reserve, when you close the door, it is not the tin can that you hear on other trucks where they go cling. This is thump.
Nope, it has a nice, quiet...
It's just that thump that you'd expect from $100,000+ vehicle. Thump.
And it's only a fraction of that cost.
That's true.
Hey, if you're looking for a Nissan, you can go to the Nissan Drive at Home program. So you can go to the website, nissanusa.com, and you can use Drive at Home to schedule a test drive online, and they will bring the vehicle that you're looking at right to your house, and then you don't have to visit the dealer. But of course, you can visit the dealer, and of course, we highly recommend the Titan and Titan XD and the 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and of course, the midsize Nissan Frontier, nissanusa.com.
What if I told you, Holman, that the...
Wait, what? Hold on. I'm looking in the corner here, and I see just the tip.
Just the tip? Those are...
Actually, 3 of them are just
Banks
the tip.
exhaust tips. Yes. What if I told you that the one on the left and the one on the right both have multiple patents?
I see the intercooling on the tip in the middle.
That's not ours. That's the competition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
I have to go
cooling,
hold yours. Hold
so
on.
check it out. Yeah.
I'm sliding away.
All right.
Here. Listen to that echo. If I was in the back seat of a Titan XD, it would sound as dead as can be.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a Banks oval exhaust tip in my beard.
That is called a sidekick tip, sir.
Okay, so Sidekick. So this is a slash cut oval Banks tip.
That's right.
It looks like it's somewhere around 5-inch, 6-inch.
So it's a 5-inch inlet, right? That's the size of the tubing.
6.
But that's about 7 inches across on the outlet.
But 6 tall.
And it's slash cut. Yeah, so this is an oval with a flat top and a flat bottom. Weird, huh?
And why do I want this? Why do I care, Lightning?
Because that evacuates, it scavenges exhaust. Grab the one on the right in the corner. Yep. So this is the same except even larger. All right, you see the inlet, which is where it connects to the pipe right there?
Yep.
Okay. Now, the curve at which it gets larger in size... That curve is part of the patent. I can't say much about it, but it's rocket nozzle technology. Why do you care about rocket nozzle technology on your exhaust pipe? Well, yes and no. I mean, it's a diesel pickup truck, and it's after the DPF, so it doesn't add a whole lot of sound. It makes a little lower rumble, but you care because it scavenges exhaust. That is a zero back pressure tip, my friend. That means that not only does it reduce the back pressure after the DPF, it helps draw exhaust out. A couple PSI less at the tip of the exhaust can mean a lot more at the turbo. So that means better fuel economy and more power with a Banks Monster exhaust with Sidekick tip.
So where do I go to find out if there's an application for my truck?
BanksPower.com. Type in your year, make, and model.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
All right, hold on. You forgot to tell everybody. Season 2.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 2.
Season 2, episode 2. Do we own season 1?
No. So we should probably let people know.
Did that fall apart?
No, it's those are owned by.
Are those ongoing, the negotiations?
I am working on a licensing deal that will allow us to keep our previous 267 episodes up, but it won't be in perpetuity. So if you love the back catalog,
listen
you
now.
should listen to it now, because at some point, it could be 6 months, could be a year. We're still finalizing some details. No, it won't be tomorrow.
Okay.
We're working on a licensing agreement, so you guys can still enjoy the back catalog. But we're forward looking here, season 2, episode 2 of the Truck Show podcast.
Oh, this season is way better than the last season.
Than the last
5,
yeah.
Holy mackerel! I wish we owned the last 260 episodes. We don't.
What? Listen, all right, but let me just leave it with this. Motor Trend on my exit has been incredibly gracious in the way that they handled everything.
Dude, I, in all honesty, so I didn't work for Motor Trend. Okay, I am a contractor, and I will say, God's honest truth, they have treated Holman really well through this. I have no ill will. I do think it's a great company. I'm sad to see this part of their operation kind of dissolve and them reorganize, but I will say that they've been nothing but kind to me.
No, and it's Same here. So they gave me.
Although I do wish we owned our back catalog.
Well, they gave me the opportunity to own the podcast, so that's huge, just in and of itself, right there. And they're willing to negotiate to listen. I don't keep all my old four-wheeler stories when I leave. Just like if you work for Boeing and you write a patent for them, you don't get to take your patent on the way out. So I get it. That's just business. That's typical for a media company. But the fact that they're willing to work with us so that we can maintain as much of the back catalog as possible, or I keep it up for a while so that you guys can enjoy it until whenever the time is. But just a heads up, it won't be forever. So we're looking forward. So tell your friends, get them to listen, and let's get as many new listeners as we can on season 2.
All right. Do you want to shift gears and talk about lighting?
I would love to do that.
All right. This is where you dial Mr. Hamza Deyaf, CEO of Feniex Industries. Wonder if he's at the gym.
It's Hamza.
Hamza, it's Lightning and Holman from the Truck Show Podcast. How you doing?
Hello.
Hey, doing good, sir. How about you?
We are absolutely amazing now that we have you on the phone because you're the world's hardest CEO to track down.
Man, as long as you think that, then I'm okay. I'm doing all right.
I mean, we could have got a hold of Bill Gates easier than tracking down the man behind Feniex.
Man, I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, so you got Lightning and Holman. There's two of us, and we have a quick intro to play, so don't move. Hang tight.
You got it.
Does it take to be an entrepreneur? What does it take to be an entrepreneur? Quit your job and get a loan. And don't let anyone tell you you can't. Go into debt and don't look back. Don't worry, there will always be another crappy job. This is what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
Now, Hamza, everyone gets a silly jingle, so they're all different, and yours is how to be an entrepreneur, basically, and it's saying there's always going to be another crappy job.
Not if you're successful.
Not if you're successful, not if you're on his trajectory. But so you need to know the backstory, Hamza. So this is Lightning speaking. I work at Banks Power during the day, and before that,
he wants to yell at people through a PA.
well, we'll get to that. Hold on, we'll get to that. That's the whole thing, right? Okay, so my backstory is I spent 25 years in radio, and then I went to go work for Gale Banks, who does performance parts for diesel pickups and other stuff. And then Mr. Sean Holman across the desk from me, he's been in automotive journalism for almost the same amount of time, 20 plus years.
Oh, very cool.
And I have always wanted and always followed strobe light technology and just strange things that my friends thought I was wacky for enjoying, right? And PA systems and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I was watching D-Max Rhino out of San Diego, and he's been on the show a bunch of times, and he's become actually a friend of mine. And he was installing, this is a couple of years ago, installing some equipment on one of his lifted show trucks. And he put in Feniex, and I had never heard of Feniex. And then he did kind of an expose on the shop down there. I want to say Escondido, somewhere on the San Diego way. And they were IEP, and I'm trying to remember what that stood for. Oh, International Emergency Products. Okay. And they're one of your retailers, and he knew everything about all the SKUs and all that. And I was learning as you would want a YouTuber to teach. I was soaking it all up. And then I did some research, found myself on your website, found myself on your team page, found myself on your LinkedIn, and now all of a sudden I'm a stalker. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little creepy. I know too much about Hamza.
Is that why you've been leaving me alone lately?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, and so
it's been refreshing, by the way.
I watch one of your videos, and you basically tell all about all the trials and tribulations that not only you as a person, but the company has gone through. And after, I'm not going to spoil the whole story because I want you to tell some of that to our listeners now, but everything about the whole story was fascinating. What you make was fascinating, and the story and how you got there was fascinating. That's how I arrived at trying to track you down. And you're like, who are these two schmucks from a truck podcast trying to get me on the like, what is this all about?
No, Lightning, I appreciate that, man. I think you give me way too much credit. You and my mom do, so I'm very appreciative of that. So thank you. You know, but in success, obviously, I believe it's a very subjective term. You know, and it means something different to each person. So from a successful standpoint, I'm blessed that my idea of business was a good one. It had a purpose. I had the necessary resources, the right people around me, the right time, right? I entered this industry during the rise the rise of LED technology, the transition from strobe and halogen bulbs to LED. So my timing of industry penetration was good. So there's a lot of factors that play into that. And through a lot of hard work, good people, good decisions, and overcoming a tremendous amount of failure, we're here and we're standing. I'm very, very proud of it. So where do we want to go? What do we want to do from here? Now we have a lot of dreams, man. Lightning. It's we're very ambitious, all of us. I am not where I am today without the good quality people that trusted and believed in me from the beginning.
Maybe that's the key to success that we're lacking, is we have nobody who believes in us.
I don't think that's entirely true. We have thousands of listeners, but
now, did you talk about Feniex and who?
No,
let's
I
tell our
jumped
listener,
right into Hamza as an entrepreneur.
Now they're listening right now, going, "Lightning, we don't know who you're talking to."
Sure,
so let's help them out there.
So the backstory is, I love their slug line. Feniex, by the way, we need to get into the spelling because it's not spelled Phoenix like either the band that does 1901, the pop song, and it's not spelled like the bird either, right? It's Feniex, which I'll want Hamza to explain in a minute. A manufacturer of innovative American-made products for the world's toughest jobs. Lights, sirens, communication, and more. They do stuff for police, fire, towing, construction. The list goes on. It's a weird niche thing, I think. But we have so many listeners that are in construction. We're about to build a new podcast studio, for example. And Rich Holdaway, one of our construction guys, his trucks are, have LED lighting and such. The ambers, things you need, right, at a construction site. We have a lot of police. We have fire. We have everyone. So I think that we'll find listeners that have something, they'll be interested in your product line.
Well, and I think everybody who's listening is always interested in a good entrepreneurial story, because we've got a lot of guys out there who own their own business or want to take the jump. And so I think every time we have somebody like you on who has that track record of going out on their own, it's inspiring, especially to a guy like myself who just went out on my own after 25 years. So I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Sean, who's sitting across from me, has just left Motor Trend after 20 some odd years and has started up Truck Famous and now owns this podcast. So that's a whole nother story. But Hamza, take us back. You started another company, Speed Lights?
Speed Tech.
Okay.
Yeah. Speed Tech Lights, yeah. Similar industry, right? Same industry, just different market. Going back a little bit, I always wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be a police officer or a firefighter. I wanted to be in the emergency response sector. There was something about that. So I went to UT, I ran track and field there, and our track stadium was on the edge of this intersection. And during track practice, I used to watch the police officers and fire trucks blow through this intersection. I was fascinated by it, man. I thought it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, right? These are real life superheroes that exist, and look at them just conquering the road and going to save somebody's life, right? In our industry, our products show up on the worst day of somebody's life. And the idea that we can be there and help and make that situation just a little bit better is very fulfilling and very rewarding. Now, my father, I called him up I was at UT one day, and I said, "Hey, Dad, I know what I want to be. I'm a sophomore, junior here at UT now. I want to be a firefighter or a police officer." My father told me, "You know what? That's rewarding. That sounds great, but find a way to provide for your family incredible financial security. And those jobs, as rewarding as they are, may not necessarily give you that." So my dad was a software engineer for 25 years. He stayed with the same company nearly 2 decades, Abbott Laboratories, as a software engineer. And then he was laid off during the telecommunication bust and struggled to find a job during some really tough economical periods, right? 2008, just a little bit before that. So there were challenges, and he really, really focused in on financial stability and security for our family. And that was a big thing. And I said, "You know what? I want to buy some of these lights. I think they're the coolest thing ever." So as a college student, I bought a couple of flashing lights, put them in my car. I thought it was the coolest guy ever. Obviously, it probably wasn't the best thing to have some flashing lights in my car at that time. So I just
Lightning. Lightning.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Yep. There's some of us that don't care, but yes, all right.
Yeah, but these were just white lights, right?
Okay.
I got these white flashing lights that I thought was really cool. So I had them in my vehicle. Had them. I thought I was the coolest guy ever.
Hold on, Hamza. Don't gloss over. What car or truck was it?
It was a Toyota Camry.
Okay.
Which totally blends in as a police car or a construction vehicle or an ambulance. Completely right in there.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. It was just for some reason I loved the industry. I loved the product type. I knew lighting systems that gave some element of warning, right, to people out there, and I thought it was one of the coolest things ever. But I was a poor college kid. I had $8 in my bank account. I would pull up to Jack in the Box every now and then at night and think, God, one day I'll be wealthy enough to pull up to this restaurant and buy anything it is I desire. So understanding what it's like to be hungry, going 2 days at times as a collegiate athlete with no food, because at that time you can't really work, don't want to ask parents for money, don't really have another job. It was tough. It was really, really tough.
He's just thinking of the 2 taco combo. He's like, if you can just get the 2 taco combo with a small fry and the medium drink, it's a home run.
But look at him today, right? He can go for a large combo now.
Thanks. And a drink too.
Wait, hold on. I know you're down in Texas. We have to ask.
Oh yeah, we do.
In-N-Out or Whataburger?
Oh, Whataburger, man.
No. Wrong answer. No, seriously.
So here's the thing. Whataburger used to be amazing until they got bought up or they're new corporate overlords, and now they're not. And all my Texas friends, I go down to Texas quite a bit, they're always giving me a hard time. They're like, oh, blah, blah, In-N-Out. And I'm like, let me ask you this. Why does Whataburger have no cars in the drive-thru and In-N-Out has a line around the block, right?
Because it blows. That's why. It freaking blows.
That's a valid point, man. That really is. Yeah. But I mean, Whataburger gives you the 3 chicken strips, with gravy and stuff.
That's solid.
It's free because they can't sell it. It's not worth anything. Come on now.
No, I love it, man. I love it. It's such a valid point.
You have been to In-N-Out, right? And if not, we'll take you to when you're in. Okay, all right.
Well, the thing is, I grew up in Dallas. I lived there for nearly 18 years before I went to school in Austin. And I went to UT from class of 2005 to 2010.
A lot of Waffle House in your life at late nights.
Yeah,
that's really true. But my dad found a temporary job while I was in high school. It was sophomore and junior year of high school in North Carolina. And we moved there we moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and I went to school there. And I think In-N-Out, that's what it was all about. I think so. I don't think they had a Whataburger in North Carolina.
Nope, not that far east.
Yeah, but no, I get the love and passion for it, man. It's great, And when you're a starving college kid, man, anything was good. And Jack in the Box was definitely my thing. But ultimately, I sold out that light. I got on eBay. I listed it. I said, hey, red and blue. White. Flashing light, and my phone was blowing up that day. Cops, anyone was calling me wanting that light. And I remember thinking, wow, there's a business here. So I stripped it apart, found the manufacturer part number inside the product, Googled it, found the factory in China, emailed them, hey, can I buy 10 of these? What would be my price? And wow, that's much less than I thought. Called up my dad. Dad, can I borrow $800? I want to sell these lights that I probably shouldn't be owning.
Moving the hot goods, right?
Yeah. And when he lent me $800, and I lived in the track and field stadium at the track and field team room because I couldn't afford a computer, and I made a website and I managed my eBay listings and all that. And man, fast forward 17 years later, and 2 corporations, and nearly a $250 million in products sold since then. It's been a
yeah. That's
you don't have to rub it in.
Well, man.
But hold on, you can't. You're like Hamza. You're not allowed to just gloss over those years, and we're not going to spend an hour talking about it. But I will say that, like, so you get the $800, you buy the parts, you put it together, and you put up a store on eBay.
By the way, my parents are awesome, and they, when I've ever needed a loan, they've come through. It's
Sure.
been, right, and parents will do that for you. But don't you, when you're starting something out, don't you have a little bit of guilt? And you're like, God, I hope they believe in me enough to give me, and then they give you the money because they're like, they believe in you, and then you walk away, you're like, I hope I don't let them down now.
Yeah, amen, amen.
Well, how did that become a legitimate, like, online thing?
In the windows of opportunity in business or in life are not sometimes that obvious. They come to you in tiny and sometimes micro views, right? You look for them and you give that a shot, because it's not like, wow, I sold this product and I made money off of it. I mean, I made a little bit of money, but when I started buying these products from Asia, some of the very first lights I sold, I think I bought them for about $50, and I was selling them at one point for $55, minus the eBay fees.
Well, that's
minus
no margin.
No, but it was. I told my mom this when I called her up when she told me similar things. I said, Mom, if I made $1 on every light that I sold, I will sell 100 lights to make $100. And I valued money. I valued the value of that dollar. And I push forward. Well, what can I change here? Maybe the keywords. What else can I do? I can add a red filter on it, and people are going to pay more for that. Wow. Okay. What's this thing? LED technology. Called up the factory in China. Hey, can I buy 10 of these LED ones? Boom. LED. I'm selling that for $100, $200 a light. Wow, that's incredible. And it's valuing every exchange, every dollar that really helped me move forward, because, man, in business, you guys know it, there's a million forces, some obvious, some not, that want to destroy you, that want to pause you, that want to cripple an idea. And you just have to have this blind, ridiculous ambition to just persevere and push forward.
Were you thinking that, man, I really only have one major, because I won't say the name, but it starts with a W, like that's the only other company that I can think of that does what you do. It sounds like you fell into it and you looked around and go, I really only have, like, there's a bunch of Chinese competitors, right? A bunch of guys making LEDs and HIDs and whatever. But, like, really legitimate companies that make fire safety, lights, sirens, things like that. I can't count more than one or two.
I know a few.
Do
but
you?
Yeah, I mean, but that market is really tight knit.
Small.
Yeah. And cities, municipalities, people who buy the emergency equipment, the city yard, whoever, they have the relationships with the people they like to work with and the products they like to work with. Whether it's, if you think about it, on a police car or something, once it gets retired, all that police equipment doesn't go with the car when it gets retired. It goes to the next police car. Yep. And so they want to know the wiring schematics, how easy they are to repurpose on another vehicle, how long do they last, how efficient they are, how long can your cop bike run its lights on a traffic stop without your motorcycle going, battery going dead, all that stuff. And actually, when a long time ago in my past, I worked at a police department as a civilian and went through the police academy and all that. And this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So this was probably 2000. And I remember we had a company come to the police department with an LED light bar. It was the first time anybody had seen it. And we put it on one car. And that car was like the test if we were going to outfit the rest of the fleet with them. And I'll never forget how freaking blindingly bright those lights were. And back then, the reds had kind of a little bit of a pinkish hue to it, and the blue was a lot more brilliant than it is on the incandescent or the halogen bulbs. But you could see that car on a traffic stop 2 miles down, the boulevard. Whereas, other equipment, it was faint, or you couldn't see. I mean, it was amazing. You're like, oh, I know which unit that is because that's the one with the LED light bar. And back then in 2000, working for a police department where your whole life surrounded, the quality of lights, because lights are everything you do. I mean, it's how you pull somebody over, how you exert authority, how you search for somebody, how you search for addresses, how you can keep a suspect or somebody at bay by, blinding them through their mirrors for the takedown light, all that stuff, right? So lights are everything to a cop, and to have that kind of technology I remember
and reliability.
The leading edge was like, wow, this is the future. This is amazing. So flash forward 20, I guess 3 years, 24 years now, and the technology I'm sure has grown incredibly since then. But it's cool to see some of the stuff that you have on the site and all that. But
thank you.
Going back to Lightning's question, it's hard to break into a category that already has those relationships based, or built already.
It's incredibly hard, and in our industry specifically, I would look at our market, regardless of some of the innovative technology. I'd look at our market as more of an archaic industry, an archaic market. It's very traditional. You're talking about pre-internet type sales models that existed, manufacturer reps, territory-based models, face-to-face sales, the good old relationship, right? When you look at it globally, I think our total market size is maybe 600 maybe $700 million, and that you get kind of the big guys, the 300 million, the 150 million guys, the $100 million players, and so on. And then we're working our way up in that category. I would say we're probably maybe the fifth biggest player in the space, and it's great to grow to that specific point. With some of the new technology we're releasing next week. We've been working on technology for 2.5 years that I believe is going to transform our industry forever. And we're launching it on Wednesday at the Feniex Summit. It's a virtual summit, and we have thousands of subscribers and people that will attend, and I'm really excited about it. But for the last 10 years, 12 years of Feniex, all we've been doing is trying to chase new innovative technology, because the way to capture new market share in our space and to break these traditional norms that are really, really hard is with really impressive transformative technology. And when you look at the historical sales of Feniex and where we've been, we've 180 million in total sales since our start. That capital, where'd it go? Into new product innovation and development. Like literally in its entirety, it went into the investment of developing newer technology and newer products. So it's
Well, that's a big letdown. I hope you're going to tell me that you bought a castle and a bunch of Lambos.
Yeah, I wish it was like that. No, not even close.
Well, in Hamza, one of your videos that I found online, you were detailing in almost painfully like how you went through these trials and tribulations. You built lights and they failed out in the marketplace, or they failed on vehicles, and you had to revise them, and you had electronic issues, you had water issues, you had all these, and you were open about it. You're like, but we solved them all.
Lights are hard. I mean, you think about these things that are being, they're never in a garage, right? On an emergency vehicle, except for maybe a fire truck. They're always in the elements. They're in the worst of things. You don't park an emergency vehicle on a bad day and don't take it out. You're dealing with everything from UV and dust and vibration and extreme heat, extreme cold. I mean, it's got to be one of the hardest products in that type of environment to have those sealed lights and reliability. And even the little, on the old halogens, they had like a little servo motor that would go around to spin it. Well, you remove that from an LED because you can have LEDs facing different directions, and you don't need to have the gumball spinning around or whatever like you did in the old days. And each of those little steps kind of gets you a little bit closer to more reliability and all that kind of stuff.
Well, consider mil-spec rating, right? Even mil-spec itself is a year, maybe 2 years. Consider some of the most advanced consumer-related products that are designed to work forever. What is the average warranty on those types of products? iPhones and TVs, 30 to a year, maybe manufacturer warranty,
if
right?
You pay for it, sometimes.
If you pay for it, and then along comes our industry, which is in some cases so incredible, right? Life-saving technology. The product has to work. If it doesn't, someone can die. But on top of that, automotive grade, environmental, harsh conditions, and it's got to last for 5 years. That's the warranty period of our products. I think our industry goes down, and I mean this, it's not just a biased statement. I genuinely believe our industry goes down as one of the most difficult products and development segments that exist because of warranty duration, application, and what the products is subjected to over time. Not to mention add the variable of amateur installation. You know, a lot of
Well, yeah.
yeah.
I think
I don't know what you're talking about.
The easier you can get to plug and play,
Yeah.
the better. But that's not always the case. I mean, you look at an emergency vehicle and the wiring system. Even if if it was meant to be an emergency vehicle from the factory, and they're pre-wired for some of it, the amount of electronics. I wanted to say somebody told me once, or I read it once, like the average police car has like 25 miles of wiring in it, or something ridiculous like that. And just navigating all that, and then you take a construction truck that was never made to be an emergency vehicle that has to be upfitted. Yeah, there's a lot of variables. I was looking through the website. One of the things that caught my eye is you talked about in the early days how you had found these lights and you found the manufacturer in China and you ordered them overseas. And now on the website, you're talking about American-made products and innovation.
Yep.
Is that part of your marketplace differentiator, number one? And then number two, to the follow-up on that is, what is the value of that to the business, bringing that in-house, and what products are you doing? How does that help you sell more to a municipality or something like that?
Man, great question, Sean. Really good question. So, I ran with Speed Tech for, I would say, about 4 to 5 years. It was the 2005, 2006 to about 2010. And you're talking about, I'm sitting in class, I'm trying to sell products, I'm running track and field, I'm getting ready for an Olympic year to go train and compete both collegiately and on a world level. And
that's a pretty awesome humble brag, by the way.
Yeah, look at you, overachiever, man.
Man, I'm trying to glue together and see what sticks.
And you know what we were doing last night? Hold on a second, Hamza. Holman and I
eating chili dogs
and
and
I
a
were
Nissan
outside
Titan
of
XD.
Yeah, we were outside of a Wiener Schnitzel recording a show in a Nissan Titan XD, a proud sponsor. We're eating Wiener Schnitzel chili dogs, recording a show. Like, that's how different we are. Holman, we suck.
No, that's not true. You have been an entrepreneur in your past and have failed, and I'm an entrepreneur now, and will probably fail.
I don't know that it failed. I'm just not. I don't own it anymore. Yes, but it's still
listen
still
to
going.
different episodes. I love y'all show. Listen to different episodes online and stuff. You guys are great, and and I love the energy you bring, because you really bring stories to life, and it's been one heck of a battle bringing this company to life and bringing it forward. And at Speed Tech, it was, I would say, about 4 years. And I think it went from, Dad's initial small investment to recycling that over and over again to perfecting an online digital algorithm of Google ad campaigns, right? It wasn't so much just the product for Speed Tech as much as it was, how do I create a click campaign that generates the highest amount of yield and visitors and conversion? And I created this philosophy of a 7-second rule: 7 seconds on my homepage, 7 seconds on the product page, and 7 seconds in checkout. How do I maximize that, the 7 by 7 by 7? And I built that up to about $4.5 million a year in sales by our 4th year. And it was all online digital sales. And that sounds great. I'm a college kid. I'm pumping out $4 to $5 million a year by my 4th to 5th year, but I'm seeing a throttle. What's going on? There's got to be more potential out there. I'm maximizing all these efficiencies online. I have a good product. Oh, this industry sells through distribution. Oh, this market is over $500 million. It's sold through regional resellers. How do I get them? None of them are going to buy a Chinese product. I need to go innovate a true American-made product that I can control its manufacturing, control its IP, and have a differentiating factor. And I can go sell to a distribution network. And
Oh, they're clapping.
Hold on. They're very enthusiastic about this.
They love it.
Yep.
Made in America.
Yeah, that was a push.
Hold on a second, you guys.
Hey,
Sit down in the back,
please. Look at that guy in the back.
Yeah.
Really loves Feniex lighting.
Oh yeah, look at woo! Right,
I love it. I love it, man. I love it.
So,
and it was great. I sold my shares of the company. At that point, Speed Tech began to be a little diversified with different family members and other investors and so on. But I sold my shares and I took my resources and I said, I'm going to go start this Feniex. You know what? Let me just misspell Phoenix with the PH and see how that sticks. But and it worked, right? Branding is about owning the full domain name of your site. I wanted Feniex rising from the ashes of the industry, failures and failed products and failed ideologies and philosophies. Let's build something new and great. I didn't know how bad I was misspelling it. I was just making that
Yeah,
stuff
you
up.
screwed it up pretty bad, I'm going to say.
I did. I did, man.
And by the way, hold on a second, Hamza, coming out of like mastering SEO, search engine optimization, and knowing all that, and
then misspelling
and
word.
then here you come forcing people to not find your new company. You're like, I wonder how I can start this at a deficit.
Jeez. Sometimes the crazy ideas are the ones that somehow magically find their way into fruition. I mean, who knows? But the intention there, because even Feniex is a flashlight company. Feniex is not even the way you spell it. So, but it's such a niche industry that you can pull that off, because when you look at the global market of $500-600 million broken up through a network of about 1,000 dealers worldwide, what does that tell you? We're sitting in a market of less than close to $500 million, very small, divided up between a network of distribution of about 1,000 people. The average business size out there is $100,000 a year. Maybe the big guys, the really big guys, are $2 to $3 million a year, right? You're still dealing with small based businesses. So the research of this market is so intense. There's 5, 6, 7 really
prominent
main
players. Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm curious if any of those other players saw you coming and either dismissed you or tried to crush you like the cockroach that you were. Now has somebody tried to say, "Hey, you're bothered. Before you were just bugging us, kid, like go kick rocks," and now they're like, "Dude, you're on our doorstep. You have to leave, or we're going to buy you out or something like that."
I want your answer, but first I got to imagine, this is Lightning. I got to imagine that you have an exit strategy, because you're an entrepreneur. So you either have to sell it. It's got a private equity will come in and one of those things like Wheel Pros buying every wheel company, or because I just feel like you're going to have to do it again once you build this thing up to a behemoth, or he buys the bigger fish.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Because that's what happened to my radio company. It was a little radio company buying CBS radio. Yeah. So maybe that could happen.
That's interesting.
He could do
listen to him.
Yeah, like some kind of LBO,
Hey,
right?
stop talking, Lightning. He just dropped a hint.
Oh yeah, he did. All right, Hamza, you with the correct answer.
Well, so a lot of people don't know, but I wonder, Sean, if that lighting company back, years ago was 911 EP. It was one of the early developers of lighting technology in our space. I think it was two brothers. They entered the market with some type of LED technology and tried to push it, but eventually that company didn't survive. A lot of change and adjustments occurred, and one of the bigger guys acquired that business. And during my transition from Speedtech to Feniex, one of those big companies approached me and said, "Hey, don't start another lighting company. Come here and be president of 911 EP. We just acquired them and run this company." And I tinkered with that a little bit and explored the thought process. And I said, you know what, this isn't really for me. I want to build my own enterprise. I have a vision of what I want to accomplish, and I'm going to go for it. And over the last decade-ish, I've really pushed for that. And along the way, at different milestones, when we were 20 employees, when we were 40 employees, when we were 60, when we were 100, when we were 120, at different milestones, I've built relationships with some of our biggest competitors. Just about every competitor, and competitors of equity firms that own our competitors. And along the way, I've been given respectful offers for the enterprise to merge with these bigger companies, to be part of another conglomerate, another industry. And I see that that was always an option. But I decided to go a different route. 3 years ago, I decided to make a big push. Feniex was a network of about 7 total investors that helped me build Feniex, and they gave me their investment early on. And in 2019, early 2020, I made them all an offer, 20 times their investment, 20x their initial investment.
Wow.
And I bought them all out, every single one of them, to acquire 100% of Feniex Industries. And instead of going the route of selling the organization, I decided to make this next move and run this company on my own. This is my journey.
Yeah.
Loans, every dollar I've generated in the history of my business experience, a commitment to to what my vision is and to the employees. And I made a big move. It took me 6 months to negotiate the exit of each and every one of them. And it was a lot of work and a lot of emotion and a lot of thanks and appreciation and struggle and commitment. Some people thought I was crazy. My family specifically, why are you doing this? Why don't you just go sell Feniex to one of these big enterprises and all of you guys just, retire early? No, this is my journey. This is my push from here. Every Speed Tech, you guys, we worked our way to that point. Feniex, a lot of people helped me, got me to this point. This is my journey from here on. So when you talk about am I going to sell it, it's so removed from my vision right now, what I want to accomplish. I want to transform this market. I want to see this enterprise grow. I want to see this company become a legacy enterprise for my future kids and their grandkids. I mean, that's what's in my mind today. And I'm mature enough to know that can always change down the road. But for now, I'm really focused on where I'm trying to take this enterprise.
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want to know that leap from I imported some stuff from a factory to now I'm developing and building my own stuff, because that's a massive
That's
gap.
a good one. That's a good one. And you're not an electrical engineer by trade.
No, but I learned every conceivable facet of electrical engineering and semiconductor development, microprocessors, power regulators. I mean, I had to learn how to develop an electrical system and become the chief engineer of our company. My degree was in kinesiology, more sports medicine.
Okay.
So it was definitely a push. As I was building Speed Tech, at college wasn't necessarily, it became second to where I wanted to go. And I graduated with whatever degree I was able to get. I eventually changed majors to youth and adolescent development in the College of Education at UT. So, I could always be a PE teacher if this doesn't work out. But, the focus for me was really how do I build this business? And I learned that I had to become a finance expert in capital management, right? Long-term investment. How do you grow an enterprise to tens of millions of dollars with such minimal capital investment, right? What partnerships do you need? How do you engineer and develop products on a mechanical level? What's the composite of polycarbonate, the right balance to prevent UV degradation, while being strong enough for clamping with such tight force for waterproof sealing, right? There's everything contradicted itself. How do you push the boundaries of light performance while managing thermal performance in the smallest light package that the industry can accept, right? And then go multicolor with that, go quad color with that.
And also make sure there's enough heat output so they can melt snow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's always the byproduct of it. We always tell everyone it's got a built-in snow defroster.
See, lightning?
Well, so unless you listened to the last couple episodes, you don't know that I've been guys are bitching and moaning about the new vehicles that have LED headlights won't melt snow. And I go, dude, you guys are relying on, because guys are buying cars and trucks in Alaska, Minnesota, whatever. And they got used to the last 20 years of their halogen lamps melting snow. So, but that was never the intent.
Oh, God, here we go. Lightning's already lost this in the court of our audience.
I know that, but here I am going, guys, you're going to have to figure it out, because you're going to have to put a coil.
LED lights from most factories have a heating element in them.
They do.
Or
some do.
Or the heat sink is designed in a way where the heat goes forward to melt the lens. Lightning thinks it's just a byproduct, and once you put LEDs, you just, it's snowing, I can't see. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way.
But it's up to the consumer, right?
No, it's up to the manufacturer to provide a safe vehiveal.
I understand to the manufacturer of the vehicle, but not the lighting guy. The guy who develops the lights.
You lost the argument. Now you're going to get more emails. truckshowpodcast@gmail.com.
You're just
over
trying
this
to
rant.
rant. No, it's like it's not the lighting guy's job.
Listen, the grand jury has already spoken. You've been indicted. There's nothing you can do.
I'm going to jail.
Just because you're on the courthouse steps,
I'm going to listen to jail
on your soapbox doesn't make it any different.
Man, you guys should sit in some of our round tables when we have our engineering discussions on new product concepts and philosophies and advancements. The question that always comes about is, where do you draw the line of what the consumer is willing to pay for a product, and what functions and security and safety features are needed in that product to ensure its reliability? And who's at fault, right? Well, okay, here's the simplest one of all time: reverse polarity protection, red and black, right? Well, do we pay $4.50 on every light bar and add an internal circuit protection that allows for reverse polarity protection to occur, or do you not? And you
Eat the warranty cost?
Yeah, you reduce cost of goods by $400,000 a year. And you just tell the customer, hey, clearly this is your fault. You forgot to do it. You should have followed the instructions, and the product doesn't work anymore. So take that simplest philosophy and apply it to so many different take it all the way to
like a podcast. We decided not to pay for the reverse polarity safety feature here, and you have to listen at your own discretion.
I think the answer to that one, so this is interesting.
Because
that equation.
So Banks makes electronic products.
Absolutely.
So that's something you guys talk about here.
So there's 17 electrical engineers that work in this place. So that equation changed a decade ago or more. There was a shift, and I want to see if you agree with this. There was a time that the consumer would buy an electronic device, and it might work a year, 2 years, 3 years, or maybe he buys it, he wires it incorrectly, it blows up, it fails. What does that consumer do? That consumer contacts the manufacturer, or he writes an angry letter, and he puts it in an envelope and he mails it off, or maybe he contacts the Better Business Bureau. What were his recourses? That was it. Today, within 30 seconds of reversing the polarity and
you all over the internet.
It, he's destroying you on Facebook, even though it was his problem.
Yep.
So now you have to bend over backwards, and it costs you. So that light bar you maybe sold for $400. Now, not only do you have to give him a new one because he's blasted you, you now have to spend an extra $1,500 on Facebook ads to overcome the negative effects that he's had in destroying you on a particular group. So it costs you so much more money than just to put in that $4 safety feature. So just bake it in, suck it up, and today the customer wins.
Well, I think in business today, for those reasons, the fact that wildfire spreads way faster than it ever has in the past is always err on the side of customer happiness, protect them from themselves, but then protect your business from those by protecting them, right?
So it may cost a little more upfront to do that.
That $450 is cheap insurance for what could be a massive headache at some point.
Is that what you found, Hamza?
Amen. I mean, you guys are touching on some really fascinating points. Like, look at the modern era that we're in from a social media standpoint. We're in this cancer culture era where news can spread really fast. And if you make a mistake as a brand, an individual, or corporation, you can get obliterated, and you can destroy 100 years of a development in a very short period of time.
Isn't that weird that you could not make a mistake as a company?
It's pretty wild, and it really is, and you have to be very careful, and that could be in the products that you develop. So what do you add, right? In its simplest form, a halogen bulb didn't need reverse polarity protection under DC current. 12 volts, reverse it either way. I mean, the bulb is going to light, current flows through the coil, and it illuminates. Add these other features and this new technology, and this thing can do this, and this can do that, and it can regulate, and then it can adjust and brighten. Eventually, you needed more complex electronics, which adds characteristics such as reverse polarity protection and many other ones, thermal shutoff, right? Overheat protection. The list goes on. Who is responsible? Who takes the cost of that investment? And the truth of the matter is, that's research and development. That's sitting in a round table and having this conversation. Put aside all of that, the cancer culture, the innovative steps of new product development, and add now the element of education. Me and the team, we sat down, my executive team, this was last week. We're launching this new product. We have millions of dollars invested in it, and it's R&D. We think it's going to transform the industry. We did a risk management list, right? We said, okay, what is our risk management plan if these things happen? What if somebody hacks the database? Okay, one. What if this supplier, this critical supplier, is not able to? Okay, the number one item on our list that we extrapolated, we said this actually is the greatest risk this product faces. It wasn't supply chain, it wasn't hacking, right? It was what if the customer did not understand the product? Customer knowledge, right? That
I believe my man Lightning here deals with that on a regular basis.
Yep, that happens a lot.
Yeah. What if the customer doesn't get it? What are we going to do? Oh my gosh, we need an education landing page. We got to inform them within 30 seconds of what this does and how it functions. We got to add the value. How do you break up something that can transform an industry and a company into two or three bulletin points? Is that enough? And the list goes on and on. So yeah, product knowledge, how to use it. That's a big one. That's your customer reviews. That's the challenge of innovative technologies. The rule of the law of diffusion of innovation, right? You guys know about it. Simon Sinek touches on it possibly. In order for a company to take on a mass market, you have to sell a product to the early adopters. 3 to 5% of the global market are the ones who will touch a new technology. And then if they like it, it passes on and it moves on to the next 10%, the early adopters, then the early majority, the late majority, and then eventually at the tail end of it, the really old senior citizen guys that are still using rotary phones, they're the end of the chain.
Try this.
You're catering to this early group. You have to educate them. You have to make sure you put in the right necessary protection and the dummy-proof solutions. You got to pay for that. You got to make sure you have it, because these guys don't mess around. They're the ones who stood in line and waited and camped out at the iPhone store waiting on somebody, waiting to get the first phone.
That was me for many, many, many years
Was it
ago.
really?
Yeah, no, Holman is
bless
a
you.
total Apple homer for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What was it like? What was that experience?
It was
like?
actually, you know what? I'll be totally honest with you. It was kind of awesome. The community.
Wow.
So it's not the same today because the advances aren't leaps and bounds each generation.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
more
so
incremental.
now I keep my phone for 2 or 3 years rather than doing it every year like I did in the beginning. Same thing with the iPad. I remember one of them was the iPad came out, and I was on a business trip in Washington, and I went early in the morning and stood in line at the Apple Store to grab my iPad there, and went to a business meeting after grabbing my iPad, and then I was on the plane playing with it. But I'll tell you, being of that generation where I had enough disposable income to go get a phone, and I had the time with my schedule to be able to go stand in line, it was fun. There were people you would see from before that you'd see once a year at that day. It became a big thing. There was like a party. People were actually pretty polite. And then there's always be that one guy who's like the first dude to go in the Apple Store, and he comes out and he triumphantly raises his iPhone in the air to show everybody, and they all cheer for him, and then he drops it.
Yeah.
And then everybody claps and cheers some more. I don't know that we'll ever see a consumer product that had that type of following and that much excitement around it where the entire community came out. I don't know that exists anymore because we do less in person as a community anyway. And back then, it's funny, the device that got us to where we are today was actually a device that really was formed around community in the beginning. It was the underdog. It was the cool new product. It was the, we're rising up. Well, then now it controls the marketplace, and that community has kind of gone away, and people are older and saltier about it. And the Steve is gone,
so
and Johnny Ives is gone, and some of the people who were behind those original things where every time it was a leap in design and technology and software all together. I look back on that, and I don't think you'll ever see that again. And there was a thrill for about 10 years of every year, once or twice, whether it was iPad or iPhone or Apple Watch, where the crowds that assembled to take part in that, it was almost a movement in a way that was, you look back and you're like, man, that was actually really special to say I was one of those people who was there doing that.
Though, don't you think, guys, though, that a lot of that had to do with Steve Jobs in that he had created a revolutionary... Well, he looked at electronics in a new way, right? He looked at electronics and he said, this has to make someone emote, someone feel, right?
That's not what he said. What he said was the technology has to get out of the way. You have to be able to pick it up, have it be innovative, and be able to use it without the technology slowing you down. Because his feeling was that you'd get into, for example, a Windows product. It was clunky and cumbersome. The learning curve was high. It would do what you wanted it to do, but you'd have to learn. His point was, with the technology removed, you can just add this to the ebb and flow of your life. And yes, he created a cult in a lot of ways. People will say that. And when he died... it probably took 3 years, but a lot of the people would argue the soul of Apple kind of went with them as it became more corporate and more global and all that kind of stuff. And then you lose the last connective tissue, like Johnny Ives, who was the head designer for, decades or whatever. And when he went to go do his own thing, that the specialness kind of started to leave.
Okay, so what I wanted to get at is look at like a Samsung. Samsung has innovated in that mobile telephony space for so many times.
Telephony, very nice.
But we don't really know or care because there's no Mr. Samsung that is special. So I think
you nailed it.
When we gravitate to brands like Home and I, we love entrepreneurs. We try to talk to as many as we can that matter in the automotive and the truck space, right? And those are the brands we try to get to know the people, the men, the women behind the brands, because it's one of the reasons that like I could have bought friggin' the Whelen, the W name, right? I could have, but I found
Whalen.
I'm sorry, I could have bought Whalen. And I don't like them, so I'm going to misspell them. I'm going to mispronounce them. And like I found his story. I found Hamza's story, and I thought that I want to back that guy. Like you fell in love with Steve Jobs. You're like, I like what he's preaching, right? No different than going to church and really liking what the pastor, the bishop's saying. So let's get into products really quick here so we don't go too crazy on entrepreneurialism. Yeah. Take us through some of your favorite products. Like, I know that the Canon, the Hideaway LEDs are huge. Yep. Your light bars are not normal light bars that we would see on on a trophy truck or an off-road vehicle, but they're in some ways better constructed and more durable. Can you take us through some of the product lines?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you look at our solution, Feniex Industries, the first initial launch of the product was the thinnest lighting series that exists. That was the idea, under a 1/4 inch tall. And that came with enormous challenges that we had to face. The power regulator was a switching regulator, a magnetic device that lowered the current of the product so it can lower the 12 volts so it can power the bars. The reason I'm sharing this is because I'm trying to make something so small and so powerful with a switching regulator circuit, a magnetic power regulator device. We created the industry's most revolutionary jammer. We jammed every frequency from CV radio all the way to VHF, UHF.
Dang.
And within like a 2-block radius with our light bars, and literally, who uses the radio? And the emergency responders. So our light bars used to pull up to the scene back in 2010 and 11, and anyone who had a Feniex light bar turned on, it would jam every radio at that scene. You couldn't use it. So I had no idea that we were so clever at developing some very sophisticated jammers, but we had to really design filter circuits and ways to accommodate for that. And it was one of our dark days and learning how to develop the products effectively. Size is important, heat management is important, all of that is. So light bars, lighting technology, finding the thinnest, brightest, most efficient yet reliable and non-RFI EMI emitting device. Eventually, we built our lighting series. We started with something called the Python series, and that evolved to the Avatar, then the Cobra, and then the Apollo series with wide angle disbursement. Then we got into multicolor with Fusion, and then now, 2 years ago, we developed Quad with 4 colors and 1 bar to help reduce SKU count and multi-inventory count that exists. And this year, we're launching a new product technology called Quantum, and we feel it's gonna transform our industry forever. I believe it. I hope I get to be back on your show, whether it's months from now or a year from today, and say that remember that time when I told you guys that this technology is going to change the game. I believe it will. I believe this technology will revolutionize our space, and I'm really excited for it. I hope you guys get to attend the live presentation. It's exciting. So it's been a journey. 10 years of my life has been invested in developing these products. And it's not just about the products, guys. How do we make it and invest millions of dollars in developing it while making it affordable for the industry? That's a big one, right? How do we make a quad color light bar cheaper than dual color light bars from our competitors? How do we give our dealers 20 to 25% margin, not 4 to 7% that they get from our competitors? How do we make sure they can have food on the table for their families when they sell our products, right? How do we build it in a model that's just in time so it gets to them in 1 to 2 weeks?
That's
not
innovation.
2 to 3 months.
That's innovation.
Yeah.
You have to innovate. You have to
Well said.
make the products better, and you have to thrift components that are unnecessary or build new ones that are more efficient, right? So as we go through, so people know you offer a really wide breadth of products. So from light bars, the quad colors, things like that, amber,
Sirens.
blue, you make sirens, perimeter lighting, you make flashlights, you make all of these really interesting modules that can form. You can buy them individually, like it's 4 inches long, but you can link them all together and make something in the shape of an arrow. You can, I mean, it's really elaborate systems down to very, very simple, like the cannon that I was referring to.
Yeah.
So if you had and I wanted to talk a little bit about, you do a lot of safety vehicles, but what if I have an off-road vehicle, right? Or I have, because
You're talking about what, like chase lights, dust lights,
chase
things
lights,
like that?
dust lights. I have a side-by-side. Like I don't have to be a police officer to buy to need something that Feniex offers,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Yeah, well, very valid point. I mean, we sell, if it's a visual or acoustic warning device for a vehicle of any type, you tow truck, construction, police car, fire truck, ambulance, if it flashes or makes a sound in a warning capacity, that's our industry. That's what we do, and we do that really well. Now, does the product need to be able to illuminate a scene? Absolutely, and we develop specialty products for apparatus vehicles, for apparatuses to do that. We develop cross functions within our light bars, our warning products, to be able to illuminate a scene too. Can those products transfer over into the off-road space and provide that type of capability? They definitely can, right? But that is a parallel industry that has its own distribution challenge and own distribution model with its own challenges and so on. And those customers are looking for companies who represent the brand and the enthusiasm of the off-road industry, while the police and fire, the visual and acoustic type customers, police, fire, security, utility, are looking for companies that represent the value of innovative survival-based technology that they can put on a car and know that when a 5-year-old's drowning in a pool and this ambulance is on its way, that product is going to work. And trying to cross-pollinate those two industries, we've tried and we failed at it. And we developed off-road technology, new website, new branding, new distribution channel, new sales team. And we found it's really hard because it started confusing our customers and our distribution model. And there's 3,500 resellers of off-road lighting products out there, and there's 1,000 resellers of emergency warning products. Very little actually crossover. Very little sell both. So,
Gotcha.
I mean, Jason, I think it was Jason Richard. Jason, I can't remember his name. Former CEO and founder of Virgin Technology. We talked on and off back in the day, and he said, "Man, Hamza, we're really trying to get into the warning market, and we're finding it really hard." And I said, "That's funny. We're really trying to get into the off-road market.
Yeah,
we're finding it really hard, and it's two different industries. So can they be used? Absolutely. Can a police officer buy an off-road lighting product and use that to light up a scene to save somebody's life? Yes. Can the reverse happen? Absolutely. But it's a bit more challenging from a branding aspect. I'm sure you guys are aware of it. Brand is.
Yeah, of course.
It's everything. That or it's Amazon. Either you're dealing with
it's either pricing or brand, right? You're either a price conscious consumer or you have the vanity of the brand because that equals value to you, whether it's performance or just the name or the way it looks, the design, right? That's basically it.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to talk about Amazon and go down that road and branding and all that stuff. I want to focus on the actual product itself, and really quick, so we don't take your entire evening. But
no, you're good. This is exciting.
Where this thing started, Holman, I want you to rag on me for a while, right? Why
would I do that?
Because you're good at it.
That's not good podcasting.
So I think I've infected Holman and others, my
That's
other
gross.
friends, right? Not in that kind of way,
Okay.
not a pussy way or anything like that, right? So there's an epidemic happening on the highways of Southern California.
Oh, God,
and I'm sure
here
it's
we go.
happening everywhere.
Let's
right?
hear it.
The epidemic is vehicles driving with only their daytime running lights on at night, where the driver, because the dashboard is illuminated when the DRLs are on, the driver sees the dashboard on, the driver sees a glow in front of the vehicle because so they think the lights are on. They're not in the wilderness. They're on, the 405 freeway through Santa Monica.
Which is
right?
well lit, so they don't realize. The bottom story is.
But what they don't realize is their freaking taillights. No taillights,
right.
right? This is really common on Lexus, on Toyotas, for whatever reason. We don't know why. But so I become obsessed with rolling my windows down and yelling, people, turn your lights on. And I can't yell loud enough to overcome their stereo. So then I'm like, I'm going to buy a PA speaker. I'm going to buy a PA system. And that led me down the rabbit hole to Feniex. And I'm telling you, that's what happened. And I don't know what the legalities. I'm sure it's not okay, but I'm going to do it anyway. And if you don't sell me anything, that's fine. I'll figure it out. I'll buy
Why
your
does
stuff
this always
illegally.
come back to how you can better your...
I'm not bettering anything. I'm just telling you that is like it. So I wanted to find. I feel like I'm the do-gooder, right? I need to do that.
You can't. By the way, you're not allowed to be a do-gooder if it's self-proclaimed. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you're right. It's not at all. I'm going to take it back.
Self-proclaimed.
Right? I take that back. Okay.
By the way, T-shirt, self-proclaimed do-gooder.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, let me write that down.
Write that down,
Yeah,
please. Yes, because we're launching a web store soon here. Now that we own the podcast.
I love it.
So, tell me about that product. What does someone like Lightning from the Truck Show podcast need? Do I need a Typhoon handheld? With a Storm Pro, what do I need if I want a PA speaker to yell at my fellow off-road buddies in the dirt at Glamis or somewhere? Not, of course, on the road, because that would be not okay.
I hear you loud and clear. So allow me to try to answer
But
this.
will the car
really
next to him hear him loud and clear is what I think he's getting at.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Good night.
Let me try to answer this maybe a very complex question within 1 or 2 minutes through a little bit of physics and a better explanation, right?
Please.
So, when we developed our siren systems, we were one of the very first companies to develop what we call the audio amplification circuit. Before that, it was just wail, yelp, phaser, these really high-pitched frequencies that outputted a decibel reading of about 120, 125 decibels, depending on how much power you push through it and how accurate the speaker was and the direction of the sound and so on. When you're outputting that level of frequency at 125 decibels, the average sound out there just measuring is about 40, 50, 60 decibels.
Yeah, I'd say
now
the average city's probably 45 to 50 background noise.
45, yep. So now go on a highway, right? You go inside a vehicle. The vehicle can block out about 70 plus decibels of sound. Now you have a siren frequency that's outputting about 120 decibels of sound. And depending on the range that you're trying to go, that sound is going to decrease over time. So at 70 miles an hour at 120 decibels to warn somebody within 3 seconds of an approaching vehicle, that's about the time you have at that level of frequency, because it's so hard. The car blocks out so much sound. The environment of you driving that fast in itself it throws a wrench in all of it. It's really difficult. So we're going to blast as much power as we can, and we're going to push this threshold of 120, 125 decibels. Now grab a PA and all that, right? This is where you're trying to go with it, and key up a mic. Well, you're actually outputting a frequency through just communicating in a mic. You're only getting about maybe 80, 90 decibels through a PA. You will never be able to generate the audible needs to be able to wake someone up unless you're sitting there at a very quiet traffic light at night. So we developed something for the first in our industry called the amplification circuit. And what it does is we input those commands: pull over, step out of the vehicle with your hands up, remain in your vehicle with the windows down, right? These were
You cannot have any of those, Lightning.
I'm not asking for
okay,
those.
the way you're looking at me,
I'm not asking for
those.
those. Now,
you remember back in back in the Looney Tunes, how the coyote would look at the Roadrunner and it would turn into like a leg of beef or something?
Yeah.
That's the look you have in your eyes while he's sitting here talking about the things the speaker would say.
I'm not saying that I'm drooling, but maybe I am.
Yeah, but it's great. I mean, when we first did it, I remember. Well, it was actually, if you want to know the truth, before we were the first to input these commands because we increased the decibel reading by nearly 20 decibels because we put it through a PWM circuit and we amplified it through its own circuit on the board itself. And we found that through not pulling it through the mic and going through the wire and doing all that, we found that if we can control the audio here, we can make it louder, right? So. And that became very effective. That was an accidental discovery because before that, all we wanted to do was put the Ghostbusters and the Cops theme song in our song.
Yes.
All right, I'm down with.
That's why you love Hamza.
I am
right?
totally down with that. 100%.
That's why we had
Who are you gonna call?
we had to call up Sony. We had to pay a $4 license on every siren that we sold, and to put these songs in there, and
Still awesome.
everyone
Worth every penny.
just.
Hell yeah.
Man, I took the board meetings I went through with folks. Hey, Hamza, what is this joke you're trying to do, man? What's going on? I was like, guys, don't worry. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be worth it. If not, we're just making the same damn siren that everyone else is making.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
have a little Easter egg in there. Have a little fun with the product and
Yeah,
show people that
exactly.
you're human and you can laugh a little bit.
So it got to the point for some reason that HR got involved and went to engineering, and engineering said, Hamza wants us to put in this song in our sirens, and it's complicating the circuit and it's really tough to do. So HR came to me and said, hey, engineering is really just confused about what you're trying to do. And so I went up to my VP of engineering. His name was Al at the time. And I said, hey, Al, what's the deal, man? I know it's complicated, but we got to be different, and I think the industry is going to appreciate this. And I said, how about this? Let's put in real commands. Since you're going to build the circuit anyway, let's put in real audio commands that and see the value that's going to bring. It's going to be louder, clearer, crisper, and eventually it took off, man. Storm Sirens, Typhoon Series, F1, all of them had the first audio amplification circuit. Then every other competitor followed after that. We should have patented it, but we didn't. We were too focused on the Bad Boy song playing, we didn't think too much into it.
So those are not customizable. They are pre-loaded, and it's the way that the audio sample is stored and played through the speaker and not through, I'm trying to wrap my head around it as a quasi audio
So basically,
engineer.
that whatever the word is or the sound file is optimized for the speaker to get the most efficient amount of noise and decibel out, right? Yeah. So
and if you need us to custom make one for you that says, turn on your light.
This is what lightning is envisioning.
Your headlights are off. Turn on your headlights.
I'm not even joking. I would pay double if you had that, because then I wouldn't have. I don't even need the handset. I don't have to.
Well,
talk
that's
to
the
them.
thing is, you would just push the button while looking straight ahead driving, and they would look around like, "Who? This is the voice of God who's talking to me," and you'd be like,
"Not me."
All right.
No.
Well, here, all right. This is what we haven't determined, though.
That's hilarious.
Are you willing to drill holes in your metal bumper as a speaker grid so that the speaker for the PA doesn't have to go through the metal bumper? It can go right through the holes in the side.
So first off, there's where I'm thinking about putting it. There's just plastic. Now, I know that some of the speakers you talk about. You have one called, dude, get this. It's called the Hammer. It's a 100-watt speaker capable, Holman, of penetrating solid objects.
Yeah, low frequency.
Like your forehead?
Oh, low frequency. Yeah. Maybe that's not what we're talking about. That is low frequency, right?
It would compete with the JL Audio stealth box in the back.
In the back?
Yeah.
No, not at all. So where do I put that? I'm not sure, but I would hang it low and I would face it
You
out.
hang it behind the front bumper on the corner.
Yep.
You drill a couple holes in it so the sound can get out.
Yep.
Would you run two in parallel or in series, or can you only run one? How does that work?
Well, traditionally, it reads the output signal from the siren and mimics the identical frequency in a lower frequency range. It still consumes the same amount of power, so you're still pumping the same current draw, but the sound output is a bit darker. And when you hear it, it adds a twist to it. At the end of the day,
not the Hammer. I'm talking about
the Hammer.
Not the Hammer. That's low frequency. If we want to do like the PA style that you're talking about, we want to broadcast. Turn your lights on. You want to face that towards a corner.
Here's what I'm thinking. Instead of putting those giant Texas Longhorns on your hood, Just put 3 or 4 of the Feniex speakers right on the leading edge.
You mean, is that like the guys in Miami that hang all the speakers on the exterior of the vehicle pointing outwards?
Since you claimed that the hood scoop on your TRX doesn't actually add air to the engine, just block the intake track with some speakers and then have it shoot out.
I'm not willing to risk the horsepower, but I will find
hood scoop hole.
I'll find another spot to put these for sure. And they're relatively small. The speakers are not like 12 inches by 12 inches. They're like 4.5 to 6 inches square.
You know your vents on the hood?
Yeah.
Just cut holes there and have them pointed up.
Not up towards
They'll
what?
be loud.
I'm not yelling at the sky.
Yeah, you are. When you go through the overpass, it'll just fill the entire overpass with sound.
No, I've got the exhaust. I've got the attack from Borla exhaust right there
You're
to
gonna
do that.
scare people. And you're probably gonna get shot at, which is
I'm not going to get shot. I'm trying to save people from being rear-ended.
they don't like being yelled at while they're driving.
Again, self-proclaimed do-gooder, whatever you're calling me. What is it? Yeah.
They are
I think
mutually exclusive.
I think, unfortunately, no matter how much power you pump through it, the audible reading on any kind of just audio command, even at the highest efficiency that we have it at, no one's going to hear it traveling 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. It's going to be at a traffic light when you're frozen, cars aren't moving, and then you can play that command. And hopefully, if it's not a Mercedes or a Ford pickup truck with just really
The problem is
insulated
he's going to do it to an undercover cop.
No,
Turn on your headlights, you idiot.
I'm not
And
going to
then
do
the guy's
that.
going to look around and go,
because an undercover
"All right,
cop's
pull
going to
over."
not drive with his lights off. He's
You don't
going to
know that. Maybe he's
Well, I
undercover.
do
He's
know.
blacked out. They have a switch for that.
Well, at that point, the whole intersection is going to hear it, and everyone's going to be checking their lights. So,
Hamza, here's what I think you need to do. I think we need to go back to your original product that we were talking about, which destroys any frequency. And then basically just have it so lightning it can't be big enough for the FCC to find him, but just big enough where whenever he pushes the keys of the mic, everybody's radio speakers all the way around, it just plays through it.
Can I do that?
No,
I'm saying, can I kill their cell phone reception? Can I kill like their
a dirty bomb? You want to make a dirty bomb?
I want a dirty bomb, so I can just tell them to turn the freaking lights on. That's all I care about.
Horrible.
Cell phone communication is digital. It's very
No, I
very
know.
high frequency.
Yeah,
so
I know,
luckily
I know.
we never went that far. In terms of the rest of it, we dabbled with the idea of jamming devices. What if we can build one that transfers the frequency through the car? Well, what about the people who use satellite radio? That comes vertical. How do we can't really intercept that? So we buried that entire project of trying to jam.
Yeah, but
then what if they?
You know what?
Yeah.
You never forgot about it, did you?
No, he didn't.
It's still floating in the back of his head, going, one of these days.
We still know how to do it.
I feel like if Hamza ever went to the dark side and got a white cat to stroke in his chair in his executive suite, like that's the first idea that would come. He'd be like, "I'm doing the jam."
And he's got a T-shirt that says "I am Blofeld."
He'll call his secretary and be like, "Hey, bring in number 2." And then like the dude who's second in command over there would walk in. He's like, "Yes, Hamza." He's like, "I've got the cat, and we're now doing the jammer."
Man,
it so.
you know what? When this was like the first 2 years, but back when we invested all of our resources developing these lighting products, the Python and Cobra at the time, they all developed too much radio frequency interference. So I brought in all these different engineers, and they helped me find a way to remold my products and to do that, I had to add an inline resistor. It was about 2 inches long, and I had to open up every single lighting product. I had to solder this inline resistor on every single module, right? And the effort
That's
and
painful.
headache.
You've never forgotten that.
Was never forgot it. I mean, I was taking them home. I was calling up day laborers to come in and just, hey, you connect this thing here and there, and I had thousands of modules I had to do it on. There were dark times of Feniex to try to get that product to work, but it was rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going back to that point, I have to touch on it where you guys talked about Steve Jobs and the brand and so on. I believe that what Steve Jobs did so well, what Elon Musk has done so well, is that they found a way to connect the human element to the brand itself. I mean, talk about innovative technology. The Nobel Peace Prize winners out there, there's 10 of them every single year, right? The guys who are pioneering discoveries in physics and chemistry and economics, we don't know who they are, right? They're geniuses that are transforming our world, but we don't know who they are. But these other guys were able to get out there, connect with the world, and then bring their technology and their product to the world. Electrification of vehicles, right? A new intelligent smartphone and so on. Who's the CEO of BlackBerry? Don't know him. Nobody probably does. So I give these guys a lot of credit for being able to do that. Can our industry do that? Do I hope that I can put the face of Feniex and let people know that it's real, we're human, we're trying, we're working really hard, we're self-made, and we're just trying to innovate and bring great technology and good margin of profitability and good solutions to this industry. I hope I'm able to accomplish that and get that message across.
Can't spell, but hell of a businessman.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, that's awesome. I think that's a noble model to be going after for your business. I think that one of the stories, these entrepreneurial stories that we have, on the show. Again, we always get people who email us and say, I didn't know about that guy. I didn't know about that company. I didn't think it was a topic that I was going to be interested in, but I hung off the whole thing because they said stuff that inspired me for my own business. And we've had several of our listeners we've been doing this almost 5 years who have written to us and said, I started my own business because of you guys. And here we are, two chuckleheads who just like trucks. Like, we didn't think we were going to inspire anyone. We're just doing this because we like to do it and it's fun. And here we come with these listeners saying, like, you've impacted my life in some meaningful way, which is really a hard pill for us to swallow because we don't know why anyone would put any faith in anything that we do.
No, I mean, listen, last night, again, we were at Wiener Schnitzel eating chili dogs.
Doing a podcast.
Right, doing a podcast. I think that your unique ability, where a guy like you wins, and I think you know this, is that you can preach to industry execs all day long. But that's not where you win. Where you win is on the grassroots level, talking to people, regular schmoes. And as you're preaching, there will be a certain number of influencers that will hear your message, as you know, and they will trumpet your message. They will parrot that, and they will be the mini Hamzas. And that's what you're doing. You've made two of them right here. Lightning and Holman.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. But I got to say something before you guys try to wrap it up on me here, because this is really important. There is a tremendous amount of credit that goes to you both in the way you bring these stories and the history to life. Because behind the scenes in business, and it is monotonous in some capacity. It is hard. It is difficult. There's failure. There's challenges. There's HR involvement and theoretical ideas and projects. The list goes on. And when I started this conversation with you, and I heard some of the other podcasts you guys have had, you find a way to make it fun and to make it exciting. And I'm laughing about it. And I was thinking, man, I haven't laughed about that ever. That was 7 years ago. And so I appreciate you guys bringing that human element to it, because behind the scenes, it is really challenging. We are investing millions and pouring our lives into the development of technology and products. And when they fail, it's demoralizing. And here you guys get to come up and say, hey, here are the stories. Tell us them. Is that not crazy how that occurred? And you get to add the human element to it. So thank you for making me believe more that I am human and that this is fun and that this is a joy, because that's fuel for all of us, man. So thank you both for that. I had to say that. I had to.
We appreciate that. And for myself as a new entrepreneur who just started two businesses and figuring out, how does the S Corp wholly own the LLC and pass through taxes and my CPA and how do I pay myself?
It's mind-numbing.
And
you get it.
Everybody, we've been talking to entrepreneurs. I've been around entrepreneurs for 25 plus years. And I've always wanted to be one. And here I am. I'm finally one. And I'm going, this is really freaking hard. Nobody told me any of this stuff. Like, you think you go, I'm going to go down to the business center and I'm going to say, hi, I'm Sean. I opened a business. No, you have to deal with the federal, the state, the local. You've got to build
everything.
A marketing machine. You've got to build up your social. You got to go grab your websites.
You have to,
Shopify account.
Hold on. You're missing the biggest one. Yeah. You're missing the very biggest one. You must risk. You must risk, or you're not an entrepreneur.
No, absolutely.
And those who are risk averse work for someone else.
Yep. And I've done that for 25 years. So hearing you talk about your business, as much as I hope that this podcast inspires others, you've inspired me. So
Well, thank you guys.
I appreciate you in return for making the time to come talk to us, because this has been really cool.
So if you
was
are
an
looking
absolute
if you're looking for lighting solutions, if you're looking for PA solutions, if you have construction,
Strobes,
all of
lighting
that,
up.
they make it all, and it's elegant, effective.
Thank you.
And I'm
American.
And oh my God, we didn't even say that. It's
I know.
It's all made
That's
in
what
America.
yeah, exactly.
Amen.
Listen, you guys want to check it out? It's FENIEX.com, and they're
Yes,
also
sir.
on Facebook as Feniex Industries, on Twitter. You guys also have a YouTube page, all Feniex Industries. We would love to have you back at some point if you've got some
Anytime.
more news. Like, let's stay in touch, because you are our new favorite entrepreneurial CEO friend of the Truck
Man,
Show
I'm
podcast.
honored, guys. I'm so honored. So I'm a call away. Yeah, you guys let me know whenever I get the privilege of being back on, and I'll be here.
Fantastic.
guys.
All right,
Thanks, brother.
Hamza. Thank you.
We
Congrats.
appreciate
Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks,
All right.
Lightning.
Good to talk to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Holman, guess what time it is?
It's time for some news.
What's new in trucks?
We need to know.
What's new in trucks?
We need to know.
What's new in trucks?
We need to know.
Lifted, lowered, and everything in between. What's happening in the world of trucks?
Well, that was kind of interesting.
good one.
That was good. Yeah, just a little bit of reverb made it through the door and into the hallway.
Yeah, I can still hear the hallway.
Can you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, Lightning, did you hear?
Nope, I don't think so.
The U.S. Postal Service ordered some additional electric mail trucks. If you remember, they
Why
had...
not female trucks?
Well, these are mail, as in delivering packages trucks.
I got your
There's no
package right here,
gender
buddy.
involved here or there. So anyway, if you guys remember, the next generation delivery vehicle, which was won by Oshkosh Defense, was a bit controversial because it
I'm
wasn't...
not familiar with Oshkosh Defense.
Yeah, right.
JLTV, Banks D866.
All right, easy. And there's a bunch of criticism because it was only marginally more fuel efficient than the old Grumman LLV. That is the mail truck that you all know and love today. And so apparently it was designed so that it could go electric or ICE. And anyway, the USPS wrote a check for 50,000 of them, $3 billion check.
Wow.
So that plan only saw 10% of the delivery fleet switching over to electric, which wasn't enough for the EPA. And so they were pushed to acquire more EVs, but, they're back and forth, this and that. So long story short, in a statement, the post office announced that it's going to have 66,000 electric vehicles by the year 2028, giving it one of the largest electric fleets in the nation. They're going to have 21,000 commercial off-the-shelf, or as known as COTS, battery electric vehicles by 2028. And it'll have a preference for domestically produced BEVs when shopping for off-the-shelf, which puts brands like Tesla, Rivian, Ford, Chevy. Those are all companies that have a off-the-shelf BEV.
How are they going to charge these
That
things?
was exactly my point. Is having that many BEVs means that there's going to be a lot of infrastructure that's going to have to come with them. So writing the big check to buy them all, it's not like you're done.
No, you know what they do? They power them all with solar at night, right?
Yes.
And then they store
Right.
all that electricity.
And they
so
put
when they
the
go
wind
out,
turbines inside the hangar where they park them.
that exactly.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
It all works
Yeah.
out. Yes.
Anyway, so get used to some new mail trucks, and then also get used to some quiet mail trucks, I guess.
I don't know how my dog is going to feel about that.
He
Because
won't
my
even notice.
dog knows all the Amazon trucks, knows the
old dog or the
postal
new
trucks,
dog?
the three-legged, not the puppy.
The puppy.
She has not been
I
outside.
still gotta
yet,
meet
'cause
the puppy.
Yeah, the puppy's cute. Maybe you'll see her next week. It depends. If we do it here, we do it at my house.
All right.
The three-legged dog knows the sound of all the delivery trucks. So the silent running trucks, that'll be confusing for him.
All right. Hey, Lightning, did you hear?
I don't think so.
Goodyear is pushing a new tire that's made from soybean oil, rice husks and pine resin, according to our friends over at Motor Trend.
Is this the one that has like a very bizarre pattern on the sidewall?
Yeah, 90% of the tire's ingredients are sustainable, and it has passed regulatory testing for road use. So interesting to see some new compounds coming to it.
Will this tire come with an expiration date?
I don't know. I think all tires
Do
already
not use after this date?
All tires have an expiration date on them
but
already.
this is like made with soybean oil or whatever it is, so it's
Sure.
gonna degrade faster.
Is it though?
I say it so. Yeah.
From your extensive engineering background in tire manufacturing?
I'm an engineer of rubberosity.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So anyway, CES is where they brought it out, and again, it passed regulatory testing. The company said that 90% of its components are materials that come from sustainable sources.
See, the Consumer Electronics Show, they're
Right.
debuting tires.
Right. I mean, dude, CES is becoming sort of like a new SEMA. Anyway, Goodyear says out of the ingredients, there are 17 that are sustainable, including things like recycled polyester, plant-based components like soybean oil, rice husk waste, bio-renewable pine tree resin, and it also has a high recycled
I hope it
content.
smells good.
Think the burnouts will smell like pine sol?
No, I think they'll smell like Christmas.
Okay. All right, moving right along. Lightning, have you heard?
Nope.
It's been sad lately. Rainy, dank.
I cannot
Wet.
get out of bed when it's raining. What is that?
I just like to sleep to the rain. It's amazing.
I'm
But it's-
serious.
but it's
Like I
sad.
can't get out of bed when it's raining. Is that a thing?
Listen, Jeep wants to help you out. They just launched a new special edition Wranglers for, I guess you could get them ready for Jeep Beach Week if you want. It's the Wrangler High Tide and Jeep Beach. The High Tide is based on a Sport S trim with the V6, and it's paired with the 8-speed automatic. And you do get the Extreme Recon package, which adds the 35s. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool. I wonder
so it's
why they
basically
went
like
with the V6 instead of the 2-liter turbo.
because it's probably the more affordable engine, and obviously it's a stripper model that has the money went into the upgrade of the suspension package, which is pretty cool. So on the Extreme Recon, in addition to the 35 BFG tires, you get the 17-inch beadlock capable wheels, 456 axle ratios, 1.5-inch suspension lift, and then on the High Tide, you get a body-colored hardtop, a Sunrider flip top, and hood decals, and then there'll be rock rails, LED headlights, and fog lamps, and interior sand slush mats. So that's pretty cool. And then that comes to the price of $53,335 and is available for order now. And you should see them at the dealership by spring of 2023.
Did you mention any custom graphics packages?
The hood decals.
Okay. Hey, speaking of graphics packages, did you see the news that came out from our buddy who owns Jeep Graphics Studios?
I did.
He's now doing.
Zubrick.
He just inked a deal with General Motors to do graphics.
He's killing it. We should probably have him back, so that would be pretty cool. Okay, so that's the High Tide model, but 500 of them will be a special Jeep Beach model, which pays homage to the Jeep Beach event.
Oh, is that? I just figured they were stealing the name. It's actually paying homage to the event. That is massive. That's the one in Florida, right?
I'm guessing, yeah. So this that event, which brings 20,000 Jeep vehicles, has become a big thing for Jeep owners. I think the corporate people over at Jeep have realized, we should probably be supporting that even more. And so this year's the 20th anniversary of that event, which is pretty cool. So the Jeep Beach model, the 500 special ones, they have hood decals and Jeep Beach embroidered Mopar catskin leather seats from the factory, body colored fenders, Jeep Beach swing gate plaque, and the Jeep Beach will be $55,835. And so you can get the either special edition in hydro blue, which is the one of is the color of the 392 that I put on two wheels. High velocity, which looks like nuclear waste yellow.
It's nuclear, not nuclear.
Whatever.
What are you?
Black, bright white.
Which president said that all the time?
Who cares?
It was George Bush.
Are you done? Let's do a
Jr.
podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Did you hear?
What? No.
No, I don't think so.
Bentley.
Sure. Bring on the Bentley news.
Set a sales record in 2022, and the Bentiaga is the best seller.
The what?
The Bentiaga SUV. The automaker sold 15,174 cars, and 42% of them were Bentiaga SUVs.
I don't know what that vehicle is.
Where have you been?
No, wait. Is that the one that?
It's the Bentley SUV.
Oh, I thought that was started with a C. A Cord.
That would be the Rolls Royce.
I'm thinking of the Cullinan. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan. What's the same family, Rolls and Bentley?
No, they're not. They're owned by two different companies. They haven't been the same. One's owned by Porsche Audi. That's the Bentley side. And the Rolls side is owned by BMW now.
I don't know if I knew that. Interesting. Okay.
Moving right along.
Moving
Lightning,
right along,
Did you
okay.
hear?
No!
No.
The European car companies are not owned by who you think they are.
Apparently not.
Breaking news.
They're all owned by Peugeot.
Jaguar Land Rover has a backlog of 215,000 vehicles.
A backlog? I mean, backlog or they're like...
Backlog of vehicles that need to be built. 74% of those
God.
are for the Range Rover Sport, and the Defender.
Wow.
It's a lot of stuff. Dude, you guys better be working 3 shifts and some overtime because you got some makeup to
That's
do.
a lot of back orders.
A lot of back orders. That is just insane.
How many people... There are a lot of ballers. Dude.
There are a lot of ballers.
A lot of freaking
Well, I'm sure that's not
ballers.
just the U.S. I'm sure it's probably international. But
There are a
still,
lot of ballers.
There are a lot
No matter
of
where they
ballers.
live.
Hey, Lightning, did you hear?
No.
Spy photos are coming out of the 2024 GMC Sierra AT4X HD. That is a mouthful.
Say that again slower, please.
AT4
Yeah?
X heavy duty.
Yeah.
And it comes from the factory with 35-inch tires and Multimatic DSSV shocks. That's going to be rad. You can go to your dealer. You can get a Duramax HD Sierra crew cab on 35s.
That's pretty cool.
With really good shock.
Why? Just now? Like, people have been putting them on 35s
I know.
since the dawn of the Duramax.
It looks mean, dude. And I'm not sure if this is going to have the the AEV package on it, but somebody had just posted from this particular truck looks like it has the AEV Crustone wheels on it.
Okay, you're going to share that or just hog it to yourself?
I'm just going to hog it to myself.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they noticed it, but it looks like an 8-lug version of the GMC wheel that's coming on their half-ton trucks. And somebody posted in my socials the first AEV versions of the Sierra AT4X at the dealership with the AEV bumpers and everything. Oh my gosh, that looks
good.
amazing.
Really?
There's a story that we have to hook up with Dave over at AEV because they are going to be one of the very last bumper manufacturers standing.
Why do you say that? What about your Fusions and your Westons and all those guys?
I can't talk about it too much yet, but when you understand what was required to get onto an OE program and make all the sensors work and make it so it can go on the production line and make it sure that it's the right weight for the ergonomics and to make sure it was packaged the right
But
way.
you're talking
for
about
shipping.
OE. You're not talking about aftermarket, right? Or are you? What do you mean?
So when you're looking at the future of parking sensors and pedestrian and crash and ADAS, which is advanced driver assistance systems that are coming in, you're not going to be able to just bolt up a fabbed bumper in the shop anymore. The amount of work
you're saying you physically won't be able to because the sensors won't work.
your car is going to freak out. You have to have a certain level of engineering acumen, both in the aftermarket and off the showroom floor, to be able to do that. And I saw a taste of what goes into that, and we will bring them on when the time is right, because this is mind-blowing what they had to go through to get on the program and build the bumper to work with the trucks.
I wonder, with all the engineering money they would have had to spend, all the R&D, if they'll make money on the bumpers, or it's just like a feather in their cap.
I don't know.
Or a halo, I should say.
I'm just saying that there's a lot of work that went into it, and it's amazing. So the AT4X HD with 35s, freaking look how nice and high that thing sits.
It's hard to tell with all the camo on it because they're trying to hide it from us. But
You can tell those are 35s.
Yeah, yeah, you can. That is
Multimatics.
cool. Wow,
I mean,
it's gonna be a good looking truck.
It's gonna be awesome, and that one's a Duramax truck. You can tell by the exhaust on it. So,
Are they? Well, turn it towards me again.
Look how high that thing sits.
Man, they keep shooting the exhaust out at an angle back, so you're hitting your trailer with hot exhaust gas, 800-degree exhaust gas. You're melting your fifth wheel trailer when it's in regen. That's why you need the Banks exhaust, my friend, because it kicks it out sideways.
BanksPower.com.
It's diffused
All right,
when you're
hey,
going down the
Lighting.
highway.
Lighting.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear?
No.
No, I don't think so.
On the drive, somebody posted up a story about a 1987 Nissan hardbody with 1,092 original miles.
Tell me
I
more.
believe it was on Bring a Trailer, and I don't know what it sold for, but it was an amazing example. It hadn't even had its first oil change yet. Oh, here it is. It sold for $17,000. And it's a base model, 2-wheel drive long bed with a camper shell on the back.
That is pristine. Oh my God.
It's charcoal gray.
Where was it stored? Do we know?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a history here. So if you go to the drive and read James's article, apparently it was initially bought new in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and it was outfitted as a recreational truck with a body-colored matching bed topper, fog lights, speakers in the bed, and even a towing package. But it was rarely used. It remained in the garage alongside some classic Chevy Corvettes for 20 years and just sort of, I guess, forgotten about in the corner. And
how do you forget about a freaking Nissan hardbody?
Power comes
with
from
only 1,000 miles
the
on it.
2.4-liter fuel-injected 4-cylinder, which at that time made 106 horsepower and 137 pound-feet of torque.
That'll throw you back in your seat, buddy.
It's a D21 body style, and this one's near base. Even has steel wheels, which is pretty cool. It never received an oil change, so it's probably not even really broken in yet. The tires are the original tires, so they're probably
cracked,
dry rotted.
That's now the benchmark for the soy tires to live up to.
I'm not sure that's totally true.
Okay.
Anyway, this thing is it's just super clean. $17,000. The Steelies are 14s. I love it. With a 195/75 Bridgestone on it. And just like the current Tacoma, comes with front discs and rear drums. With a
Current, by the way,
tire mounted behind the axle. Yeah. So anyway, the thing that I love about this is when you get in those old Nissan hardbodies, it's got all the Nissans of that vintage have the orange font or orange color for all the gauges. It's just so 80s. This would be like the Radwood vehicle right here. Like you just buy it and take it to Radwood. Leave it exactly how it is.
Do you think people know what Radwood is?
Yes, we've talked about it before.
I know. We talked about it 70 episodes ago.
People know what it is.
Okay. Well, I'm more interested, or as interested,
in the fact that it comes with a 105 mile per hour speedometer.
It'll never get there. Well, downhill with a tailwind and pulled by a Ferrari. Who bought it? Who spent $17,000 on this thing?
I don't know, but I looked at the auction and I'm like, man, if I had some dollars, I would have bought it.
Really?
Well, how often can you buy a 20-year-old vehicle that's brand new?
But 17.
Special. Yeah, well, there's enough.
I'm not saying it's not worth 17. Who's the guy that bought it? And will he lower it and then put the bed on a scissor lift and spin it in the air? No?
I don't think so.
Can you imagine if it was an old school, like a OG minifan?
Dude,
that would be
out
awesome.
There. Hey, lighting, did you hear?
How about new?
Nope.
The GM design team, they showed off some sketches of what a future Chevy truck could look like in some design language, and it looks pretty cool. It's just kind of a hint at where they're going. Some people say it has square body influence. I really don't see it.
I see square body influence for sure.
Too much surface
Those
detail.
are 30-inch wheels.
Well, it's a concept
of course,
sketch.
yeah. And that is, again, everything to me looks like a Badger, like the Nikola Badger.
Yeah, I don't see Badger in that one. I do see Badger in the...
It's very square. If you thought that the current generation GM trucks had a square wheel well, they got nothing on this one. This one is just hard, sharp corners. I wonder why they did that. Well, how do they choose that? Like, not this Holman, but who's the designer that said, let's put round wheels and tires in a square opening? It's very interesting, right? That design. No one else is doing it.
Jeep does it with trapezoidal wheel wells.
Yeah, okay. But square.
It's hip to be square if you're a GM fan, I guess. Hey, Lighting, did you hear?
No!
Nope.
There's a guy on YouTube. I'm surprised this hasn't come across you. Tyler Hewitt of Hewitt Industries.
It's not ringing a bell yet.
Tyler has blasphemed the truck world.
How so? What did he do?
He took a first-gen Ram, pulled the Cummins out of it.
Put a Ford in it?
A 6-liter of all Fords.
Yeah. Yeah, normally
That's wrong.
You put the Cummins in the Ford called a Fummins. This is now a Cord.
Nope, a Cord is something else elegant and not this. I don't know how I feel about that. I almost feel like we should have him on the show.
We should.
You should. If I send this to you, will you find him since you know how to find people on YouTube?
I can do that. It's a 6-liter?
It's a
Why?
6-liter Power Stroke. Well, that's why we have to have him on the show.
Not even a 7.3.
No, a 6-liter, not even a 6.4.
He's like, and you know what? I didn't even head stud it.
Exactly. I'm living dangerously. All right, I just texted you the link. I want you to find this guy and get him on the show.
All right.
Because I think there's something wrong with him in a good way.
Yeah.
And we like talking to people who have
I
screws.
love people who blaspheme. Hold on a second. I got to pause the show. I just got a text. Ah, damn it. It's you.
What's wrong with you, Lightning? All right, so engine blasphemy aside, it fits. It looks pretty cool. He also put some King Ranch seats in it, I guess, to continue the Ford theme.
Okay.
So matching center console and armrest. So the Dodge it drives and runs. He calls it a Forge.
A Forge.
Which is
I like
good. That's
that.
solid,
Yeah, no,
right?
that's I like it.
Anyway, I think you need to find him.
I'll try.
And we need to have him on the show because I have to know more.
What's worse, the putting a 6.0 in the normally Cummins powered Dodge, or putting the 6.0 in a Nissan GTR?
Definitely what he did with the truck.
You think so?
I think a 6-liter in GTR is so out there, wacky, one off. Like you have to just be like,
you got to
okay,
commend
you have to be
him.
okay with it.
Yeah, right. But the 6.0 where a Cummins should live, you're really stabbing a guy. You're stabbing a guy in the spleen.
Let's get him on the show. Let's get him on the show.
Okay.
I want to find out what's wrong with him. I mean, we could maybe we have to put him on a 5150 hole to save him from himself
think
or
so?
something. Maybe.
We're going to interview you and straitjacket you.
All right, got one more here. I'm not sure if you heard about this or not.
Nope, I don't think so.
At CES, there is the all-electric vehicle from Centro, 2 N's, built off its T-Max. That's called the Desert Beaver.
Well, hold on a second. You're just making up names. Centro does this.
Exactly.
Does the what?
Yeah. It's a little...
And it's called the Beaver.
The Desert Beaver.
The Desert Beaver.
It looks like
beavers don't live in the desert.
It looks like the mix between a golf cart and a Ford Econoline van pickup truck. It's completely wacky.
Is it a joke? Is it real?
It's real.
It's not a gag at CES.
No. Why would you pay $1 million to display at CES and then bring a joke?
I don't know. We would.
This one is limited in speed payload and has a maximum speed of 25 miles an hour. Can only be driven on roads with a speed limit up to 35 miles an hour in such states, even though it can't go that fast. But it has a payload of 700 to 800 pounds and meets the 3,000-pound gross vehicle weight requirement by law. So Motor Trend did a little expose on this. What caught my eye is somebody on LinkedIn who is the marketing rep for them said, hey, we should get you guys on the podcast to drive this thing. And I went, don't threaten me with a good time, not really knowing what it was.
Sure.
And I saw the Motor Trend story, and I was like, what is that? Is it a pickup truck? Is it a UTV? Here, this is what it is.
Let me see that. That looks awesome.
I told you it's like an Econoline with
don't
a pickup
know.
bed
That
on a
is
UTV.
what do you call those? Yublaya, like those things that they drive around on golf courses. You know, the guy's got all his shovels and stuff in the back.
A club cart?
Not a club cart. No, they're little mini pickup trucks.
I don't know.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
This looks like a
I don't
better
golf.
version of that.
Anyway, this is part of the loads. This is anyway.
How many guys are just pounding on their dashboard right now, cursing my name?
Well, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. This is part of the low-speed vehicle market. All right, so this is part of the low-speed vehicle market, or an LSV. Again, this is from a company called Centro. It was spotted at the 2023 CES show. Again, CES is becoming this weird place for cars again, and it's crazy. The Centro T-Max, which is TEEMAK, is a vehicle intended to be sold as something you can drive around on private property. And as an LSV, it's limited in speed and payload. Maximum speed is just 25 miles an hour. The Desert Beaver is bestowed with a 15 kilowatt hour lithium ion phosphate battery pack. Range is about 65 to 70 miles, so perfect for like your private ranch or something like that. It can charge only at AC level 1 using a 110 outlet, so it'll be probably slow to charge,
yeah.
although quicker level 2 will be available in the second generation. The T-Mac and the Desert Beaver are rear-wheel drive only, and the roughly 2 horsepower motor is mounted directly to the live axle, which is under a leaf-sprung suspension, and the front uses a McPherson strut. So it's cool, and I could see if you own a ranch or something, it would be great for that because it looks like it's a little bit more utility than, say,
I was thinking of a Kubota.
Oh, Kubota.
Yeah,
that's
that's what
totally
I was
different
thinking.
than the thing that you were
I know,
talking
of course,
about.
yeah, but that's
If you would
what
have
I was
said something
thinking
with a
of.
K, I probably would have figured that out.
Yeah.
My uncle has a Kubota tractor they love driving around his ranch. I wish he'd get one of these Desert Beavers, though, because I would be all over that.
So it looks better than it sounds. Meaning,
Yeah.
it sounds like it's got no performance, but it looks cool.
Yeah. Sure. The standard T-Mac is supposed to begin production in Q1 at Centra's Jacksonville, Florida facility. Figure $1,500 to $2,000 a year, and it'll go on sale starting at $20,000 if you're looking to replicate this Desert Beaver, which is like all off-roaded out.
20 grand for that?
30 grand for the Desert.
$30,000.
Yeah.
Forget that noise.
You're not on board?
I am out.
All right. One last piece of news for you, if you've heard.
No, wait.
No.
Ring just announced their new car cam.
Ring as in ring cameras on your door.
Doorbell car cam for cars. Or doorbell car doorbell. Anyway,
The company was called Doorbot before they were Ring.
and they got Doorbot by Amazon.
Yeah.
Hey-o. So
Is that true? Was it bought by? I don't know that I
they've been
knew
owned,
that.
Yeah, they've been owned by Amazon for
Wow.
years now.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, the dude was on Shark Tank,
And then they
sold
didn't.
out.
Yeah, they didn't invest.
So the reason I'm interested in the story is it's this really simple setup that mounts, I guess, to your dash, has a forward-looking and a rearward-looking at the cabin. Just mounts right through the center of your dash, looking forward and back. And unlike the doorbell cam that might be gracing your entryway, there's a flap that you can lower for privacy. But it's motion-triggered notifications. It has a speaker. There's a, hey, Alexa thing going on there, because obviously owned by Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And a white LED ring will illuminate during conversations, or other colors indicate what it's doing. It's kind of a cute little camera. It'll work with your Ring devices. Again, the reason that I'm interested in this is I just installed a dash cam on the 392.
Well,
and so I've been going through this whole thing of researching dash cams.
So
and
I'm glad you said that, because I picked up a customer's Duramax today for some testing, and I'm going to open my photos because I took a photograph of his camera because it looked pretty neat. It was like a tube about the size of a roll of quarters.
Yep. So it's
sideways.
probably a black view, which is what I got for my car.
And it was, I don't think it's a black view. Hold on a second. On the end, it said N2 Pro. N2 Pro. Any idea what that is?
I don't know which camera that is. It looks similar to the black view, which I've done a ton of research. Everybody says that's the that's the one to have.
Black view.
It's a South Korean company, and they have all sorts of. This one is 4K. Supposed to be. I just got a one channel. Supposed to be great.
One channel, means just facing forward.
Just facing forward.
So I picked up this guy's, and he's a great guy. We've brought his truck before. He's very gracious, but the whole time I'm in his truck, I'm like, I know he's watching me.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm just chilling.
Was there one facing you? Yeah,
Yep.
he was totally watching.
I'm
you.
just like chilling.
Did you pick your nose?
Nope.
You wanted to though, didn't you?
Nope, didn't.
You itched and you're like crazy, and
No,
you're
I
like,
didn't.
you're like trying to reach it with your elbow.
I didn't do anything. I don't even listen to the radio. I just make sure
Yeah.
I'm checking my blind spots. I'm not getting an accident.
You're in
and-
some dude's spank bank for sure.
Yeah, I'm saying no.
All right,
'Cause I don't
so
wanna believe that I
let's
am.
get back to the Ring car cam, and so this one will also sync with your Wi-Fi at home, and you can check the recordings in the Ring app and all the things that you love to do.
What's the monthly fee since Ring charges me for everything?
My monthly fee isn't bad. I think I pay a yearly one. It's less than like $10 a month or something like that.
Okay.
I've got 3 cameras. I'll have 4 soon. But the Ring car cam will retail for $250. You can pre-order it for a little while prior to the launch for, I guess, $200. Ring Protect Go subscription is $6 a month or $60 a year. That's not bad.
Can
for
I
a
see it?
cloud.
What does it look like?
It's kind of hard to describe. It's just like a little arm that comes off the center.
It's
and
very
it's kind of cute.
Ring-like.
Yeah.
It's, if you're familiar with Ring devices, it's very it's curvy.
It wouldn't surprise you that it's a Ring if you saw it, but
Yeah.
it's, So anyway, the Ring car cam won't work on every car. You have to have an OBD2 port, and you have to...
really?
And it must be accessible for the adapter plug and a USB-C cable.
Oh,
So
they're tying in OBD. I get it for power, but like, dude, I already got 2 dongles hanging off of OBD already. You know what I'm saying? I got a Derringer, I got an iDash, I got
So
a
I didn't
Pedal
do that on the
Monster.
Blackview. I wired it directly to the fuse box with fuse taps, and
Sure.
it's good to go. And now the Blackview one is nice. So just like the black view, you have to add a battery to it to keep it so park mode works, and it has a jiggle sensor if somebody backs into you in a parking lot, and it'll do up to 30 hours the battery pack. I didn't do any of that. I'm just doing the while I'm driving, right? Grab some off-road videos, see any wacky things that happen in front of me, whatever. Like those kind of dash cameras, this one also will start recording in a parking lot if somebody bumps into you and all that good stuff. So anyway, if you're looking for what seems to be a more simple approach to a dash cam, you might want to go to Ring and check out their new Ring car cam. And if you go to Amazon.com, it's $199.99 right now. Just type in Ring car cam. So
I am interested. I actually have been looking for something like that for the TRX, but I can't give up. I've already got a splitter.
Yeah, I didn't want to go through my OBD too.
OBD, yeah.
So
I think they're discounting how many people actually have any truck. He's got amp steps. You know,
yeah, but they're not looking for enthusiasts. They're looking for the
I know
90%
the mass market
of people that
drive a Camry. Yeah.
So anyway, well, that's it for news this week. I would like to regale you now with some emails.
You email? Yeah. I email. Do it. We email. That's right. Everybody email. Type it up. You email. Proofread. I email. Send it. We email. Click it. Everybody email.
All right, who's going first?
I'll go. Got one.
Hold on. I got to turn this down.
No,
just a
you're
bit.
good. Let it go. Yeah.
It's over.
All right,
it's over. Go.
Our buddy Lars wrote in and he said, "Hey fellas, podcast app says unable to play. Same thing as the last one." And he was talking about the Google Podcast app. So I went on there and I was able to play it off Google. But we need to hear these things. If you guys are good, your regular deal like Spotify or Google, sometimes it's an upload error. We've had file corruptions in the past. Just hit us up, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll get on it and check it out right away because we're always on top of that kind of stuff. So if you guys are there first Monday morning, it's not working, just shoot us an email or call us on the 5-star hotline, 657-205-6105, and we'll check it out for you. So thanks, Lars, for checking in, and thanks for having our back.
New name for a studio, subject line from Brent Clarkson. Guys, it's simple. New studio should be called The Pod. As always, 5 stars. Does it leave this reviewer cold?
It's clever. It's
clever. Pod?
Clever.
Yeah. All right, I'll give him 5 stars.
All right,
5-star review! 5 stars!
Don't smash Emmy.
Easy. All right, got one here from our buddy RB. He says, Frunk, Nene, Ram's upcoming EV pickup truck will have a Fargo, front cargo. Ray says, as I recently posted in a reply to a comment on the Stel Power website, Ram should coin a new phrase instead of frunk because frunk is Tesla speak, which is old hat and weak sauce. He's been listening to too much of you, clearly.
Yeah.
I propose Fargo, which stands for front cargo, which is also in keeping with the Legacy series of trucks. If it resonates with you two, feel free to pass on to Mike Koval, Jim Morrison, or any of your other pals at Ram. If it's dorky, just let it die. All right, Ray, appreciate that.
This one is titled Jingles from Eric Stevens. Please play the Worky Work Works jingle. Thank you. I think he's referring to the original Inside Job.
Because we had 50 of them and we didn't like any of them.
I labeled that one Joy Division because it reminded me of the 80s band Joy Division.
But now I kind of like it. Maybe we bring it back.
You've come full circle?
Let's play it and find out.
The truck show, the truck show, the truck show, vroom, vroom. The truck show, the truck show. It's time for the inside job. The inside, the inside, the inside job. We'll talk to an industry expert about how things worky work. The inside job is on now. All of our guests, they have the know-how. On the truck show, the truck show, the truck show, the truck show. Vroom, vroom. Vroom, vroom. Vroom, 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 vroom. The inside job.
Yeah,
that was really long.
We stopped playing that because of its length.
But didn't I ask you to just cut that down? Don't we have a short
And
version?
I decided that I couldn't, and I didn't.
Oh, interesting. Nope. I mean, because I don't hate it. I just hate the length.
That's what she said.
Truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. Truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. That is the show, my friends. Want to thank Hamza for calling in. He was an amazing guest. Hopefully we'll catch up with him again. What?
It's amazing?
Amazing, yeah. Love you guys.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show.
All right, we got to thank Banks for loaning us a podcast studio, a conference room for this episode, and possibly a couple more before we fully move into our new space. So special shout out to Mr. Gail Banks for allowing us to hang out here and do this. And you should go buy a bunch of Banks products, bankspower.com, or slide on into Lightning's DM at LBC Lightning. And of course, a special shout out to Nissan for allowing us to have the privilege of driving a Nissan Titan XD Platinum Reserve 4x4. It's been
You're driving me home in that, aren't you?
Been a great truck to drive around. 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty. You can check out the Nissan Drive at Home program. You can go check out the Nissan Frontier, nissanusa.com. And of course, if you want to reach us, at LBC Lightning, at Sean P. Holman, at Truck Show Podcast. We got a lot going on. More to come, but we appreciate all of you, and thanks for sticking with us here on our second episode of Season 2. That's pretty amazing. I did the whole thing. I didn't mess up once. I just kept going because I knew if I let you, we're going to be done.
Because what you guys don't know, if Holman screws up and the music is playing, we got to redo it.
What do you mean if Holman screws up?
I don't ever screw up when I'm over the music. I don't.
Sure.
No, it's because it's like my old radio days.
Uh-huh.
You know, once you hear that music, you got to hit the post.
Yeah, what you do is you end it, fade it quicker so that it's out so that you don't have to do it over the bed.
Exactly right.
I know your tricks over there across the table. I know exactly what's happening over there.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that was a great show, I think.
I think without Hamza, it would have sucked.
Why? Because it was us?
Yeah, just us.
Well, I'm ready for not chili dogs. I don't think I can do those 2 days in a row.
The only thing on the way at this hour, so there is a Wendy's, an In-N-Out. In-N-Out's the wrong way. Jack in the Box.
Nope.
The Jimmy John's is closed. The Jersey Mike's is closed. It's like, you know what else is closed? Oh, bummer. The Farmer Boys closed.
I know. The other day when I came up here to meet with Gail, I stopped at the Farmer Boys.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, solid.
Farmer Boys is always good.
Always good. Yeah.
And we're bookended. There's one up here and one down there. We got 2 Farmer Boys within like a half mile.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
All
as
right.
far as now,
In-N-Out it is.
There's a McDonald's.
Nope.
No. Then what else? We got nothing.
I mean,
there's not even a Del Taco around here.
Here's what I'm worried about.
What?
I'm worried about us withering away.
Are you now?
Yeah.
There's a million taco joints that are open late, but
oh, it is Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, enough of the show. Let's go eat tacos. See ya.
Tacos are always good. Goodbye. The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.
When you love a taco so much you can't stop, oh, can't resist the taco, now you're in Choco, cause you ate your taco, but it's all okay though, flavor's so good that it took you to the top, oh.